two. Two. Check two. Hello. Hello, folks. What's up? Happy to see you streaming again, Rob. We have your NAFO fella ready when you are. That's why I've been absent more lately. Been doing some behind the scenes NAFO training. Of course, you all know I'm very passionate about this. Johnny Dialectically, hello. Welcome everyone. Hey, BBDH 187, 10 months of tier 1 from BBDH. Thank you so much to BBDH. Very, very much appreciated. How are you all doing? How was your weekend? Sound off in the chat. Sound off in the chat about how your weekend was. How'd it go? Did you get up to anything? Talk to me. Talk to me here. I want to hear from you. Yes, you individually. I got a cold. That's no good. That's no good, Johnny. Chilling with my best pal, Big Pussy. We all know. My childhood best friend. Everyone is aware of this kind of lore. Of my childhood pal, Big Pussy. Glad to see HTA also is carrying on the tradition. Turned the corner on COVID. I'm happy to hear that, Dakadoon. It was miserable for me. I don't know how it was for you. I was absolutely miserable having COVID. So I'm glad to hear you're doing better. I know you're back at work. Everything's going back to normal. Back at work. Watching TRRS. Good stuff. Weekend was fine. I ate rum raisin ice cream while watching Rings of Power with the family. That sounds nice, comrade. Social distancing. Welcome. I only watched the first episode of that. I watched the first episode of it and I haven't watched any more. How do you feel about that? Do you recommend that? Have folks been watching Rings of Power? I kind of liked the first episode. It didn't super grab me or anything, but I kind of enjoyed it. Bon took my mom to the hospital with no broken bones, so better than it could have been. Yeah, that's scary. Sounds like a scary situation. First episode's pacing is a little weird, but I love it. Yeah, I enjoyed the first episode, but I know I probably need to get into it more. Watch more. Cuba family vote is just exit polls as of now. So hard to find good reporting on it, even in Spanish. I mean, the reporting I'm seeing from Telesur is that it was approved. And even if it is based on exit polling, it seems fairly overwhelming. But we'll get into this. Don't worry. Let's not rush. Let's not rush into this Cuba discussion. We can ease back into it. I'm still easing back into the streaming schedule
you can count
after
on
some
me
time
and
off.
Good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Hi, Rob. Glad to see you're back, TRRS Sankara.
Sam Cider, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 16 months of Tier 1. Thank you, Cursed Sam Cider. No thank you from much of the cursed content that I see posted on your behalf, but thank you for the resub and for being part of the community. 9-hour stream. I don't think it's going to be a 9-hour stream. Maybe one day we'll get back up to that point. Like last week I did I think an hour, and even that was a little bit pushing it for me. So I'll work my way back up to it. Going to try and do at least a couple hours today. They discovered a new variant of COVID where I live, but absolutely no one but me is masking because all the media talks about here is still Ukraine. Oh, good. I'm glad to see they have their priorities in check. The pandemic's over, comrade social distancing. It's over. We don't need to worry about it anymore. Variant schmariant is what I say. Mom's 70th B-Day surprise B-Day party. She got really drunk and they made me play Never Have I Ever with the entire extended fam. That sounds kind of nice, but also kind of weird. Amazing Bird Show. It sounds a little weird. The Cursed Rob's face swaps will continue until morale approves. We got King Window. Is it crunchy audio? I know it's still echoey. That's not going to change for a while. I think this week I'm going to be getting some curtains in this place, in this space here.
And have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Hey, look, it's Rob, who was named 5-time best Canadian streamer on Twitch.television.
Thank you, Outrun. Thank you, Outrun, for the 18 months of Tier 2 and everything that you do for this community. I appreciate you a lot, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to have this echoey sound for a little while. There's a few things I need. I need to get some curtains. I need to get some blankets on the walls. I was away all weekend, so I didn't really have any opportunity to work on that. I'm going to fix this light here, too. I was away all weekend. I went to Brockville for the weekend with my son, went to my mom's house. So I haven't really had a chance to work on any of these kind of like technical issues. But I will be cutting I will cut on this cathedral-like sound. I will be cutting down on the cathedral-like echoey sound at some point. Thank you, King Window. Brandon said it's over, Jack. That's right. The pandemic's over. Didn't you hear? We don't need to be worrying about any of this stuff anymore. Hello, Sean. What's up? The lighting could be more bisexual. Yeah, that's it. I've got a lot more natural light right now. I've got a lot more natural light, but it cuts down on the bisexuality of the lighting situation. It's sort of like the effect they used in 90s movies when someone is speaking from heaven. I'm trying to just talk like into the mic. I'm trying to talk into the mic and not too loud so I don't get crazy echo. This will improve, okay? This will improve over time. Don't you worry about that. My internet is out. I'm using my phone data to watch the stream. This is the commitment of a real VIP. And everyone knows Red Scary is the true VIP. The true VIP on the stream. And whether that's reflected in pink diamonds or not, I don't think that's necessary. The pink diamond. I think everyone recognizes Red Scary as being the stream VIP. And we don't even need to acknowledge that with any kind of a physical indication, I don't think. You know? Everyone knows this already. The Manitoba health minister said, it's okay if you catch COVID. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah, it's like, it's not okay. I had COVID a few weeks ago and it was fucking horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was far from okay. Strange how the issuer of the pink diamond is the one who thinks the pink diamond is unimportant. It is kind of strange, isn't it? Yeah. Hey there, Rob. How are you doing? It's so nice to have you back. But I'm glad you took a break, even if it wasn't a planned one or not. Either way, here's to not working sometimes. Hooray for rest. Thank you, James. It was very necessary. It was a very necessary break. And honestly, it's like I think my mental health has improved a lot over the last couple of weeks of kind of unplugging a lot. Not even from here, but from Twitter and everything. I've really not been on Twitter very much. I've not really been in the Discord server all that much. It's been nice, honestly. It's been nice, and I would definitely recommend people, if you feel the need to pull back a little bit from some of this stuff. There was a worrying study about increased chance of dementia, Alzheimer's, and older people who had COVID. That is indeed very worrying. Yes. That is indeed extremely worrying. Sorry, I didn't think you'd stream today. I figured it'd be tomorrow, so I didn't pre-show. Hello, Rob. Hello, Chad. Hello, Lodane. Welcome back. Sorry, I probably should have given some indication of what was going to happen. That's once again, that is on me. Once again, that is on me. As usual. But I'm just trying to get back into the swing of doing the stream on a regular basis. I'm trying to. There's so much to talk about. So I am trying to just mentally get back into a place of doing the show every day like I was doing before. You're a goober and I'm used to it. I am indeed a goober. That is true. I am indeed a goober. No worrying for me. I plan on dying in an industrial... I gotta start reading the chat from here so I'm not always looking down there. I gotta start reading it from up here. Not worrying for me. I plan on dying in an industrial accident under suspicious circumstances. Okay, good. Good. Good to know. You look HD AF. Yeah, I do, don't I? It's the lighting. It's the increased lighting situation has really, I think, improved the look of the camera. I realized. Rob, I've missed thee and fellow community comrades. You too. Dimitri, it's great to have you back. Oh my goodness, it's been a while. It's been a minute. What's up, Dimitri? Welcome. Great to have you back in the chat. Dimitri's, of course, been mysteriously vanished around the time of the Ukraine invasion. Perhaps covertly, perhaps not covertly, engaging in the special military operation there. We don't need to get into the details of that. That's what I'm assuming has been going on, though. What do you think about upgrading the friendship triangle to more of a cylindrical model? I'm not sold on that right away. James, we can put that idea in the sort of like suggestion pile, which Lodane takes care of, obviously. Lodane, I think, wants to hear those kinds of suggestions from people. We'll definitely take a look at that. We will definitely take a look at it. I won't personally, but like we, the team, that kind of thing. Looks like we're about to deploy to Italy soon. It seems like it's going to be necessary, Dimitri. Like a friendship hyperplane, a friendship tube, friendship pentagram. What's the name of like the 4D? There's like that 4-dimensional a tesseract. It could be a friendship tesseract. Okay, that's what the hyperplane joke was. I see. The friendship tesseract. It just doesn't have the same ring to it. It does not have the same ring to it. You know, it doesn't. Hello, Husker. What's up?
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
You down with the ROB? Yeah, you know me. That's right, Pissed. Hello, Pissed. Welcome. What is up?
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And Comrade Social Distancing, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. I feel like I'm still seeing some shadow here, which I shouldn't be. This light should be compensating for... It's not really doing it. Gonna have to do. Going to have to do. Hildebeest, hello. Welcome. The gang's all here. The gang is all here, friends. I already got some good stuff planned for this week, too. We're going back to TRRS this week. We are going to talk a little bit about Iran today, because I think there's a lot of stuff that we can take a look at. But tomorrow I am going to be talking to... Oh wait, tomorrow might not be that good. Fuck. Shit. now that I realize it. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow, but sometime this week, I will be talking to Twitter user Your Orientalist, who's a really vital Twitter follow, I would say, part of the Iranian diaspora, who's going to talk to us about a little bit about Iran and these ongoing protests and how we should maybe be looking at that and thinking about it. Really highly recommend giving him a follow on Twitter. I might have to reschedule that for Thursday, actually. Thursday might be superior. Text him right now about that. I was thinking tomorrow. That was a mistake, but we'll say maybe Thursday. New Atlas did a great video on the protests if you want to check that out later. Okay. We can do that.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old
We can do
Rob
that.
to talk you through all this.
Hello, Rob. I am an elderly Italian man who has just woken up from a 77 years coma. I assume my home country is still trending away from the fascist Mussolini era?
Fight Scene, thank you so much for the 16 months of Tier 1. Thank you, Fight Scene. And I believe, yes, I believe everything's all been settled now there. The Italian socialist partisans were able to steer Italy away permanently from that direction. So, should be good. Should be all good. I haven't looked into it in a couple weeks, though, so. Girl boss Mussolini. Did you folks see Hillary, like, praising her? Hillary Clinton was giving an interview in Italy and was like, yeah, well, it's a female, so that's good. That's always going to be progress. Cool. Very good stuff. We got Hillary, like, endorsing the Mussolini's girl boss predecessor. Great shit.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old
Great
Rob
stuff.
to talk you through all this.
Hillary's pissed she can't be girl boss Mussolini. It's true. It's true. She just like me, FR. No word from Freeland yet. That should be good. Yeah, that should be something to keep an eye on, absolutely. Yeah, we got Liz Truss. We got girl boss Mussolini. Feminism, folks. It's killing it. It's killing it in the game. Killing it in the game these days. The future is female Mussolinis. That's right. That expression that we're always using.
You can count on me. You're going to have good
Mussolini.
old Rob to
Oh,
talk
my.
you through all this.
There we go. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Did you just come up with that? I know, Outrun, you're kind of king of the... You're even more of a dad joke person than me. Was that... So did you just come up with that now? Comrade Social Distancing for... Thank you for another gifted sub to Hilda Beast. Thank you very, very much. He came up with it this morning and tweeted it. You're bad for encouraging it. Let's see this. Well, not bad. Not bad, Outrun. Has anyone thought to call her Mussolini? I like that. Girl bossing our way to Sallow. I found out Mussolini had ancestors when Jim Carrey tweeted a cartoon of him hanging from the rafters, and she responded, "That was great. That was really wonderful." And Mussolini's granddaughter or whatever responded like, "You bastard." That was very cool. On days like today, I think of what my papau, a Greek partisan trained by an Italian defector, would think of the trending world. We've really just, like, taken all that hard work and sacrifice that people across, like partisans, you know, across Europe, that guerrillas in Korea, you know, all the people who desperately fought against fascism. We've really just like taken the last couple decades just to like just spit on all their fucking graves, haven't we? El Duce is good as well. We've just taken the last couple decades just to spit on all their graves. Hey Doc, what's up? What is up? We're reading 18th Brumaire in Theory Book Club, and 1850s France is just like USFR. Probably going to lead to only good things. I would say. Only good things. Everything's going fucking wonderfully. It's so crazy how we rehabilitated the very people who murdered all the people we've been memorializing for the last 80 years. It is strange, isn't it? It is strange. And, you know, the people that are, like, on the left, they're the ones that get called anti-Semites. Remember? For, like, being against all this shit. Pretty funny how that works. That's actually something that I was planning to talk about today. The whole British Labour Party anti-Semitism thing, which with this documentary that came out on Al Jazeera, which has some incredibly damning reporting in it about how much of a fucking scam that it was. There's a Das Boot joke in there probably. There's something that we can workshop that. We can workshop that. And President Xi ousted by a coup, of course. The phantom coup. This is more of a vibes-based coup. You know, it's not based in actual, like, a military overthrowing anyone or any of that stuff. It's more based on vibes. It's like a fairy. It's like a fairy. If you just believe in the coup enough, it will become real. It is a fan fiction coup. That's right. It's like people have been trying to manifest this. Right? All those YouTube videos, China weeks from collapse. China 2 months from collapse. 6 weeks from collapse. 3 weeks. They're just trying to manifest. It's that hustle grind mindset. It's that hustle grind, the coup, the China collapse hustle grind mindset. Hustle grind set. I don't know. Fuck. The fascist secret. That's what it is. They're just going to think about it enough and it's just going to happen. It's going to happen in real life. I like that the news is just a guess what I heard guy at the coffee shop in a small town now. Yeah. Absolutely. And you have all these people connected to like Falun Gong or something, contributing to it. And you're like, these people that are part of this weird, like CIA-backed religious cult, I'm sure they're very trustworthy on this subject. Very, very trustworthy. Let's listen to these people. They put China collapses on their vision board and damn it, they're going to make it happen.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
I want to see that Labour Party opportunism. Yeah, it should be. I saw some clips from it, Dimitri, and thank you for the 100 friend coin. I saw some clips from it, and it's like incredibly damning right off the bat. We're going to hopefully get to that today. Rob is live, you say? That's right, Progressive Canuck. Here I am. It's hard to imagine, like, even the people that are trying to manifest this China coup, it's hard to even imagine, like, what, if everything that they're saying is true, what the military would be, like, getting out of any of that. The military, if they were indeed overthrowing President Xi in a military coup.
And have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Comrade Social Distancing, for another gifted sub. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. It's not like the Chinese military. It's not like it's Indonesia or something. It's not like the military is being separately armed and trained and funded by the U.S. It's not like you have these Chinese generals going to fucking Fort Bragg or whatever and training and becoming dedicated anti-communists in the United States. Like that's not what is going on. That's not what is going on. She is incredibly popular. China's on the verge of, if not, I mean, you could already describe it as like this global superpower. Are there really people in the Chinese military establishment that are like, you know what, this is not for us. We actually don't think things are going very well. It's like, it would be hard to argue with that. You know, you just look at the progress that's been made there just in the last 10, 15 years. What would be the problem exactly? You know, what are they trying to, and it's the PLA. These are not people that are trained by the fucking CIA or anything like that. The people who believe these things are so precious. It is nice. No, it's like, it's true. It's like believing in like Santa Claus or something as an adult. You're about to get to the top. And they're like, no, we don't want this, actually. We don't want this. I was reading about issues in the U.S. Treasury market, which I do not yet understand, but like 3 paragraphs in said it would be worse than the 2004 to 2007 housing bubble. So I don't think it's China's financial collapse we should be concerned with. No, I do not. I think we've got our own problems we should probably be thinking about, don't we? All this progress is too much. No, not like this. Not this way. Yeah, I'm sure the people at the generals of the PLA are like really anxious for China to go back to being like a fucking Western client state. I'm sure that's really what they've got in mind. Westerners fear the words of my man, Lenin. Oh, then advanced Europe will raise a cry about civilization.
Count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Boo.
A cry about civilization, order, culture, and fatherland. Will set the guns in motion and in alliance with Yuan Shikai, that adventurer, traitor, and friend of reaction, crush a republic in backward Asia. All the commanders of Europe, all the European bourgeoisie are in alliance with all the forces of reaction and medievalism in China. But all young Asia, that is the hundreds of millions of Asian working people, has a reliable ally in the proletariat of all civilized countries. No force on earth can prevent its victory, which will liberate both the peoples of Europe and the peoples of Asia. Hell yeah. We love it. We love it. Sometimes that guy says some pretty good stuff, didn't he? Pretty smart things. Plunger Man. 1 entire year resub at tier 2 for Plunger Man. Thank you, Plunger Man. Thank you. Happy to have you here for 1 entire year. Trust the plundering accelerationist. Yeah, seems like pretty bad things on the horizon for the good old UK. The good old UK. And we're going to talk about today the possible alternative that there was for that. Because Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party were very, very, very close to forming the UK government. And they were deliberately and intentionally kneecapped by people in the media, by people in their own party. And for a long time, it was like, you were like racist or whatever for calling that out to be a scam, you know? A lot of people on the left in the UK had to go along with that and said, well, of course it's a real problem, but... And they had to take this like mental gymnastics approach to trying to talk about this so-called crisis that was going on, which of course did not buy them any credibility from the people that were spreading this kind of like theory about Corbyn and about Corbynism and what it represented. And if you called it a scam, if you said it was a lie, they called you a racist, they called you an anti-Semite, whatever they wanted, whatever it was, and people backed it up. There was a concerted effort in the Labour Party, in the media, to ensure that Corbynism would never take root, and now that's where it's led. It's led the UK right back to the arch neoconservatives who are just going to make every single problem so much worse, so much fucking worse.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I have difficulty getting through to people who are like, you have to stay in labor
You can
to
count
change it
on
from
me.
the
You're gonna have
inside.
good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Fascism is kind of hot in Europe, RN.
Yeah, you have to stay in labor to change it from the inside. You're not going to do that. I mean, that's the thing. People really tried. People came close to changing it from the inside, but like it was clear how much power the people like in the Labor Party establishment have to ensure that that nothing ever changes from the inside. I mean, if it was ever going to happen, it would have happened in 2017. And as much as I love Corbyn and wish that had worked out, Corbyn wasn't nearly ruthless enough. If anything would ever happen with either with the Labour Party or the Democratic Party or the NDP or any of these kind of like bourgeois sort of center-left parties, even though the Democratic Party is a right-wing party. But if that is ever going to happen, it's going to need to be under someone who's going to be fucking ruthless. Absolutely ruthless, and actually will carry out those Stalinist purges that all these losers were complaining about. Netlocked, thank you very much for the 23 months. Tier 1, I appreciate that, Netlocked. Fascism very hot in Europe right now, and it's coming to a community near you as well, if you're in the West. And thanks also, Comrade Social Distancing, for another gifted sub to Byron Orpheus. Thank you, Comrade Social Distancing. Mick Lynch become UK Stalin. That would be fucking great. Yeah. That would be wonderful. Yeah, and I did see people freaking out about Corbyn playing the Kill Thatcher game, the Thatcher mod Doom game. What a legend. What a bloody legend he is. They're very successful at changing center-left parties to far-right from the inside. Yeah, absolutely. And, give Beer Korma credit as well. Give Beer Korma some credit for being just as ruthless as Corbyn should have been. And he came in there. His job was to undermine Corbyn as a shadow secretary under Corbyn. He did that. And then it was to come in there and absolutely crush whatever remnants of the left remained, whatever remnants of Corbynism remained in the party. And he did that totally ruthlessly. See, they're ruthless, right? Our enemies are ruthless. Our enemies in the center, our neoliberal friends, our conservative friends, they're ruthless. But for some reason, we're supposed to not be ruthless. And anytime anyone does fucking anything to shore up their own power and politically use whatever political levers are available to increase their likelihood of instituting their program on the left, it's like it's framed as this big fucking disaster. They're doing it though. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what doing politics is. Corbyn had too much ruth. He needed less. I for one wish that he would ruth less. That's right. Absolutely right. Even watching labor files. Yeah, I was hoping to look at some of that today on Electable Airwaves. Or Matt. I was hoping to look at some of that today. Very odd that NATO countries seem to be a perfect breeding ground for Nazis. It's fucking strange, isn't it? It's really strange that this organization that was literally founded by Nazis to this day is becoming this perfect breeding ground for the rise of fascism once again. What a strange coincidence that is. What a strange coincidence. But it's probably nothing though. Let's not pay too close attention to that. It's probably not anything serious. I wouldn't worry about it. Did we place a contingency?
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I'm canceling your gig in Poland, Rob.
Thank you, Typo Chad House. 11 months of Tier 1. Very much appreciated. Did we place a contingency on Italy that if the communists won, we'd invade? Yeah, and it's like it seems like every option was on the table to ensure that would never happen in the first place, right? We can engage in terrorism. We can do whatever we want. Assassinations, bombings. to ensure that that never happens. But if it did happen, they would have gone to phase 2 of that. And we sit around and wonder why the fascism is rising again. We scratch our heads. We scratch our heads and say, why is fascism rising again? What a strange thing. And it's like the answer is actually pretty clear if you want to take a look back at the documented history of this. Acting in good faith makes this so much more difficult. Corbyn gets held to absurd standards because he doesn't play the game. Gotta be an elitist prick and trick people into voting for you, then heel turn in power. I hate it here. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, Corbyn he treated the whole anti-Semitism crisis as a legitimate thing that he needed to confront, and he needed to show that he was taking steps to deal with. And the moment he did that, it was just adding gasoline to it. The moment he did that, they knew that they had something that they could hurt him with. And the more that he tried to play ball and show how serious he was about this crisis and undoing all this stuff, the more they knew that they could get him. And that's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. And that has to be a warning sign for these future kind of movements. He's taking us seriously. They couldn't believe it. They were like, I can't believe this. And it's sad because obviously anti-Semitism is still a problem in our entire society, not just in the fucking Labour Party in the UK, but because these things are so cynically weaponized and used against people to crush movements, to crush even mild social democratic movements in the future, they have to just be treated with complete hostility, and they have to just be treated as a total scam from moment one. Which ironically makes it more difficult to confront actual anti-Semitism, which if we're on the left, we should be doing, obviously. But when these kind of things are, these kinds of attacks are used in this way, these kinds of smears are used really cynically like this, it takes away people's ability to confront actual anti-Semitism. Yeah, they attempted to do the anti-Semitism thing on Bernie. Well, it's like the whole new sort of definition of anti-Semitism that's being adopted, where it has nothing to do with you. Like, you can be Jewish and still be an anti-Semite, according to these kinds of, like, the rules of anti-Semitism that are now being established. You can be an evangelical Christian, and you're like of course you could never be anti-Semitic because you support Israel. And if you're an anti-imperialist Jewish person against Zionism, you are a Jewish anti-Semite. That's how fucking backwards this is. Say Palestinians have no right to live, or you're an anti-Semite. That's exactly it. Maybe we should start getting into this. Why don't we do this? Why don't we watch some of this Labor Files stuff? What do we think about that? That could be a good thing to, now that we're talking about it. Now that we're talking about it, perhaps that's what we could do. And we have more stuff to get into with Iran and Cuba and all that stuff, but maybe we can start off talking about this. Looking at some of these Labour Party files. What do we think about that, folks? Let me just take a look at this here. And this is not surprising at all. She faces daunting odds. Since 2000, there has been no growth in GDP per person. Almost 25% of young Italians are not in employment, education, or training, by far the worst level in the EU, of course. And then again, this is what happens when you crush the left. You crush the left, you ruthlessly enforce neoliberal economics in every country that you can to create this global free market capitalist system that benefits, the establishment, that benefits the current ruling class. This inevitably causes economic chaos in all of these countries as wages are cut, unions are destroyed, public services are privatized, all these elements of neoliberalism, which inevitably just destroys people's lives, austerity. And then in these economic crises, lo and behold, when there's no left over, there's no more fucking left because it's been ruthlessly crushed. Then you have people like girl boss Mussolini step to the plate and say, I'm going to resolve all these fucking economic problems. We're seeing it in Canada with Pierre Poilievre as well. Even though he's just more of a sniveling neoliberal himself. But they're able to step up to the plate and talk about all these issues which have been caused directly by the economic system that they prioritize, and then pretend that they have the solutions to these things, to these problems. And yes, the Mussolini, hope of youth, Italy's man of tomorrow. That's the New York Times. Of course, never a fascist dictator that the New York Times did not enthusiastically support as well. We got to look at the Hillary thing too first. We got to look at the Hillary thing. Yeah, fascists are really great at fixing economic problems. They sure are. Yeah, long track record of this. The Economist, a journal that speaks for the British millionaires, is pursuing a very instructive line in relation to the war. Representatives of advanced capital in the oldest and richest capitalist countries are shedding tears over the war and incessantly voicing a wish for peace. Those social democrats who, together with the opportunist and Kautsky, Lenin never missed an opportunity to stick it to Kautsky, didn't he? Think that a socialist program consists in their propaganda of peace will find proof of their error if they read The Economist. Their program is not socialist but bourgeois pacifist, dreams of peace without propaganda of revolutionary action, express only a horror of war, and have nothing in common with socialism. That's our man Lenin. Renegade Kautsky. He just fucking loved sticking it to this guy. We got to find this Hillary quote on Italy, though. Fucking great. Here's Hillary. On Meloni, the election of the first woman prime minister in a country always represents a break with the past, and that is certainly a good thing. Every time a woman is elected to head of state or government, that's a step forward. There we go. There we go. It's official. If you're against girl boss Mussolini, you're officially sexist. That is sexist to do. Gutsy women, that's right. She should have her on the show. She should have her on the show. The EU austerity rules forced Italy to increase unemployment. They had to fulfill a target rate of higher unemployment. I mean, how fucked is that? And that's happening in America too right now, isn't it? That is happening in America as well. Setting the stage for the rise of fascism again in America, barring some fucking miracle. Rob is officially back disrespecting women. That's right. A goose step forward. There we go. That's good. That's very, very good. Okay, so I think this is something we can take a look at first. I've been wanting to watch these Labour Party files. We talked about it already in the intro. Where did I click? Okay, there we go. It's here. I'm going to turn down this music here. So here it is. We talked about it, and again, remember,
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Whoa. Woo. Risk Inverse, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you so much, Risk Inverse, for the gifted sub. Very much appreciated. You know, I'm already almost an hour into this. I think at the last stream I had like 100 subs at this time, so I don't know what's going on. Must be maybe there's some kind of technical glitch or something. Because I was expecting that. I thought that was the kind of new normal that we were moving forward. You know, I thought it was going to be more that kind of vibe. It must be the internet. It must be the slow internet. I think that's it. Yeah. It's just so galling to have been talking.
An elite member
oh goodness!
Of the friendship triangle.
Oh goodness! Pissed. Valued community member. Pissed. One of the original valued community members. Been very valued. Thank you, Pissed, for the 5 gifted subs. Very, very kind of you. Thank you.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And thank you, Dimitri, as well. I knew it was like a slow internet situation. I knew that's what was going on. It's just so galling. By the way, welcome.
You can count on me.
Oh,
You're
boy.
have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh, my goodness.
Take my slub, rib.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through
There must have been something clogging the pipes. Clogging the internet pipes. Thank you to both Bon for the 13 months Tier 1, and thank you to Subscription Steve as well for the 9 months of Tier 1, and thank you to Dimitri for the gifted sub. I think Pissed was the first one to inaugurate that phrase here. In all honesty, I think it may have been Anus Beard. I think it may have been valued community member Anus Beard was the first one. If I remember correctly. This was a while ago now. We've been doing this a few years now. I think it was Anus Beard just by a hair. God damn. Outrun. Come on. Anus Beard. We remember Anus Beard. One day, I'm sure, I know, our friend, valued community member, Anus Beard, will return to the stream. I'm sure of it. I've never been more certain of anything in my entire fucking life.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
And thank you, Risk Inverse, as well, for the 405 friend coin. Thank you, Risk Inverse. I'm getting flashbacks of the foot fetish stream again. We don't do that anymore, okay? We don't do that anymore. That was a short-term bit that some people in the community thought was very funny. I kind of felt differently about it, but we're not doing that anymore.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk
The
you through
real
all
reason
this.
I was absent, people scared off Dimitri. People scared off our friend Dimitri with this kind of like fucked up foot fixation.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I don't know. Part Ian, thank you for the 1 entire year of Tier 1. Thank you, Part Ian. And thank you also to Kijiji Genie for the gifted sub. There were a ton of foot accounts.
You've just become an elite
oh
member
my gosh.
of the friendship triangle.
Oh my gosh. Dakadoon. Jesus Christ. Thank you so much, Dakadoon, for the 10 gifted subs. Holy shit. You know what this calls for? You know what this calls for, folks? You know what this calls for? Here we go. This is for you, Dakadoon.
Wow. Okay, Rob. Seriously, wow.
Thank you so much, Dakadoon. Very much appreciated. Blame it on the COVID fever dream. I will. I will blame it on exactly that. What the flip? What the flip, Dakadoon? In all, like, this is kind of a little frustrating, but I was going to have...
You can count on me.
Oh my
You're gonna have
gosh.
good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Comrade Social Distancing, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you so much. Look at that. Fucking wonderful. Wonderful. I did have VJ coming back on the show, and I had to cancel, unfortunately, because I had to take some time off. He will be back though. Okay. Our friend and my personal friend, VJ Prashad, he will be coming back on the program. Okay. He agreed to do it. I had to cancel. I felt bad about it, but we will be getting him back. The new VJ speech is incredible. I did see that too. And I saw that it's pretty long. So I think maybe like Wednesday, we can just devote the day to looking at that. Because it's quite long, isn't it? I think that's something we can do Wednesday.
Use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
This community is so damn good heart.
Thank you so much, Dimitri. I'm really happy to have you back in the chat today. Thank you for the 200 friend coin. I think it's 30 to 45 minutes. Oh, I thought it was like 2 hours. I guess, is there more stuff at that event? Okay. That's good to know. That is good to know. So it won't be that, I don't think we'll get to it today, but tomorrow or Wednesday. 45 minutes in TRRS time is easily 2 hours. That's right. We still do have to be prepared. We still have to be very prepared. We have to make sure they've got enough leeway. That should be great stuff, though. So we got a lot of stuff this week planned. Okay? We're going to have a good day today talking about this stuff. We've got Your Orientalist coming on, I think Thursday, to talk about Iran. We'll also talk about Iran today. We're doing Labour Party stuff today. Look at that. We're getting right back into the swing of things. We're right back at it. We're back. We're back, baby. I really need to do something about the echo, though. It's really bothering me. That's something I got to try and address this week, I think. At the very least, I need to go get some...
You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Excited to see democracy in Iran again.
Thank you, Mr. Cypher, sir. Thank you for the 5 months of tier 1. We'll get to that, okay? We'll get to it. So a lot of stuff to do this week. I got to get some fucking moving blankets and put them on the walls here. The echo is really annoying to me. I don't know. I listened back to the previous stream and it's not as noticeable on the stream, but it's very noticeable for me. It's extremely noticeable for me. So even if it's just for me, then I got to do something about that. Yeah, Cena from the East is a podcast is coming on. That's right. He's coming on this week. I said tomorrow, but then I think that was kind of a mistake. So I think Thursday at 1:30. And I just confirmed. Thursday at 1:30. He'll be coming on. I actually did an episode of the East is a podcast one time talking about Canada, and it was great. One of my favorite Twitter follows. Yeah, and someone mentioned the... Oh, crap. Sorry. What am I looking at here again? I lost it. There we go. Your glasses look very nice. Thank you, Lisa Simpson. Thank you. Rob, have you ever reached out to the Blowback crew? Would be the stuff of dreams. I actually did, Dimitri. And I don't know if, because I have whole segments of people on Twitter that
You can
apparently I have some kind of beef with.
Rob to talk you through all this.
Very authoritarian of you to enshrine women's and queer rights.
Thank you, Blueberry, for the 21 months tier 1. I did reach out to the Blowback crew. I don't know if it's going to work out. I would love to have them, but I don't know if it's going to work out. I did try, though. I did try. I don't know if I don't want to claim that anyone hates anyone. I'm not claiming that. The only thing I can say is that I did reach out to Noah from Blowback and didn't get a response. So I'm not gonna think about that too much more beyond that. How about that? I would like the dim program pod guys as well, though, Dakadoon. I would like that. And I think that's something that could be done. Have you Gopnik or one of the deprogram pod guys? Anti-Canadianism is the scourge of the online left.
Some
It's
leftist
true.
based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
My homie Tutaro, thanks for the raid. Thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate it.
I have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Where am I TRRS libface?
We don't need to harass anyone, okay? It's fine. You know what? If you want to just listen to the Blowback podcast, I would highly recommend it. I would just highly recommend it. We don't need to start harassing anyone or doing any of that. Believe me. I would just highly recommend people listen to that podcast because it is fucking great. And I am not beefing with anyone. There's no beef. There's no beef whatsoever with anybody, okay? I'm talking about beef, and I've turned over a new leaf, okay? All previous beefs squashed, all right? This is my commitment to this community. All previous beefs squashed. No more beefs. No, this is a beef-free zone, okay? Maybe my beef with Destiny is still, okay, that's still a thing, all right? That's the one beef that I'm going to allow to continue, okay? My beef with Logic Master Steven, aka Destiny. That is allowed to remain. That is the one beef which we're going to keep. Every other beef. Every other beef is squashed, okay? There will be no more talk of any beefs except that one. That is the one acceptable
You
beef.
can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I call that guy Pestiny, and that's a good thing to call him, I think, for a number of reasons. Beef streamer Rob going beef free. We're beyond beef. How about that? How about that? TRRS, beyond beef. We're beyond it now. We're moving on. We're moving on from it. Did you do a Rob reaction video? No, but Destiny was the source of my now somewhat infamous take about the alliance between Nazis and the U.S. after World War II, which, as we all know, is historically accurate. It is a historically accurate and factual statement. But it was my back and forth with Destiny with it launched that, which now every 6 months that people start sharing shots of that bad World War II takes and all that stuff.
Good old Rob.
Even though I was absolutely 100% correct about that, as we all know. As we all know. Thank you, Slightly Tethered, for the 11 months of Prime. But Rob, unity is a great thing and a great slogan. But what the workers' cause needs is the unity of Marxists, not unity between Marxists and opponents and distorters of Marxism. And we must ask everyone who talks about unity, unity with whom? With the liquidators? If so, we have nothing to do with each other. Yeah, unity with Marxists and try and bring people to the side of Marxism, and not being like, we should unify with these anti-communist, non-Marxists who want to throw Marxists out of helicopters. How about that? Excuse me, but Nazis ceased to exist after 1945. That's right. I've had so many of those comments because of my beef with Destiny. So that's the one beef. That is the TRRS. That's the sanctioned beef. That's the one sanctioned beef, and all other beefs squashed as far as I'm concerned. Okay? The official beef of TRRS. That's right. That's absolutely correct. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone, for contributing to that hype train and for supporting the show. Once again, I love you all for helping support this content and helping support the work that I do here in this program. Very, very much appreciated. So I can't believe an inarguably factually correct position led to all that. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's pretty amazing. You know what? I'd like to think that some people's minds have been changed about that. I would like to think that some people that had never been exposed to information about Operation Paperclip or Gladio or any of the rat lines, any of the documented ways that the West worked with fascism.
Good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I would like to,
TRRS.
I would like to think that there's people out there that have had their eyes open to some of these things that they were not aware of previously because of all that kind of controversy. Don Dark Sony, 22 months of tier 1. Thank you, Don Dark Sony, for all the support that you show the channel. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you. It was great to catch up in the cafeteria in Langley last week. Great to catch up with you. Okay, so we what is this? What is this biggerwig? I'm not even looking at this right now. So we talked about the Labour Party stuff. Did not use this clip as evidence. Oh God. Fine, I will look at this. Excuse me, but Nazis ceased to exist after 1945. So many people. You don't even, like, folks, you don't even understand the number of people that were in my mentions, in my menchies, saying this exact thing or some variation of it. For fucking days, for weeks. For weeks, this is my mentions. Unbelievable. All because of my beef with Destiny.
Guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
The Nazi ceased to exist. The guy who hangs out with Nick Fuentes. Yeah, that's right. There we go. And thank you for the raid, Marina. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Marina. How was your stream today? Now, I haven't really talked about Iran much, Old Dutch. I have stuff planned to talk about that. We're getting into this Labour Party, Labour Files thing first. I have more to talk about with Iran, and I have a guest coming on later, Your Orientalist from the East is a podcast. He will be coming on the stream on Thursday to talk more about Iran. So we will be getting into more of it today, and we'll be talking about Iran a lot this week, I think. Is Iran a color revolution coup like Ukraine or Arab Spring? You know what? Let's table this, all right? Cash Me Outside Studios. We will get into this later. I gave a little bit my thoughts about this last week during the last stream, but we will talk about this very subject later on in the stream. Because I wanted to get to this Labour Party thing first. I don't want to get sidetracked. Yeah. This Lithuanian official, thank you, Dmitry, Gabrielis Landsbergis, Minister of Foreign Affairs, says Lithuania will not be granting asylum to those who are simply running from responsibility. Russians should stay and fight against Putin. Literally descended every fucking time. Like, you can set your watch to this shit, can't you? Every time. Holocaust manager Vytautas Landsbergis Zemkalnis is the great-grandfather of the current Lithuanian Foreign Minister Gabrielis Landsbergis. And who also hates Russians and hates communism as well. What a weird coincidence. What a weird coincidence that is. Every fucking time, I swear. Okay, let's watch this Labour Files thing now. I don't know how long. Oh God, it's long too, isn't it? Jeez, okay. I did not realize it was this long. It looks like this will probably take up most of the day. Watch it on YouTube. I can probably increase the speed, maybe. There we go. Let's look into this so-called anti-Semitism crisis in the Labour Party, which was the absolute top priority of like every single establishment British politician and media figure for the entire time that Jeremy Corbyn was a threat to take over the party and the country. And it has ceased to be quite the same level of issue immediately afterwards, interestingly enough. Let's take a look at this, though. Because again, remember, it was very controversial. It was very controversial to claim that this like anti-Semitism crisis was a scam of some kind, or was a smear, or was being exaggerated. It was a very seriously controversial statement to make. And let's take a look at this investigation into this so-called crisis.
So I'd had a series of threatening phone calls without a caller's number withheld. And they were threatening to come to my house. And then I happened to miss a call. I noticed there was a message. When I played it, I realized the person had made a mistake because he'd left his number effectively because he'd left a message. And this was the call.
You Nazi scum. You should burn in a gas oven, you dirty Nazi cow you are. Stinking swine. I hope you die in a gas oven. You deserved everything you'd in hell to burn in acid.
I was very, very shaky. I mean,
one of the human rights defenders in the Labour Party.
Uncontrollable rage and fury. I mean, the idea that Jews should be talking to other Jews in this vile way. I mean, it was like many other things I've had, but obviously so much worse, so much more overt and crazed, really.
This is one of these Labour Party fascists we heard so much
Al Jazeera has
about.
obtained the largest leak of documents in British political history.
My God, this is unbelievable. It is absolutely shocking.
Hundreds of thousands of internal communications expose how operatives secretly...
Is this part 2? It just says Labour Files, the crisis. Is this part 2? Hold on just one moment. I want to make sure I get this right here.
And then...
Oh, Jesus Christ. What is that? Is The Purge the first one? Is that it?
If a small group of secretive people manipulate and control one of the two great parties in Great Britain, what will they do when they have control of MI5, when they have control of all the levers of the state? Are they suddenly going to believe in justice, in proper investigations, in fairness? Or are they going to be the same as they are now, or even worse?
Al Jazeera has obtained the largest leak of documents in British political history.
We can do this whole week. I think this is a very fascinating subject.
Hundreds of thousands of internal communications expose how operatives secretly take control of Britain's Labour Party.
The Labour Party is a criminal conspiracy against its members.
Free speech was shut down.
They tell the inside story of how Sir Keir Starmer, who could be Britain's next Prime Minister, leads a lawless party.
I've waited 17 months to appear in front of you in this hall as leader of our great party.
Confidential documents expose tactics to discredit and expel rivals in the party.
People are actually quite dangerous who are in the Labour Party. They were playing with people's lives here.
They reveal how Starmer's predecessor was undermined by a smear campaign from within.
It disabled him as a politician and as a potential Prime Minister.
Really nice to see you here. Bye.
How British democracy, known as the Mother of Parliaments, is being undermined by spying and dirty tricks.
No one would expect that a political party would associate themselves with a whole-scale hacking of the press.
It looks like somebody is constantly monitoring me, where I'm going and where my car is parked and where my children is going.
It just stinks to high heaven what they're doing in the background.
We speak to people whose voices
I'm not going to call it the Mother of Parliaments either. More like Mother of Nonces. That's true.
Very painful. As Palestinians, there was no room for us to enter this debate, and that's how it was designed to be.
And the files reveal how a hierarchy of racism exists under Starmer's leadership.
I've faced more racism in the Labour Party than I have in the rest of my life combined.
In episode 1 of the Labour Files.
They don't care about the truth. They want control.
How unelected party officials suspend and expel opponents in the party.
They were sabotaging the democratic will of the party.
People will be absolutely furious when this gets out into the public domain. I love the city of Liverpool. Even though we've not been as rich as other cities financially.
I got a question though. Why are those subtitles all like grayed out? What's going on with that? It says font color white. I think I changed the opacity or something. I think I was clicking around and I've changed a bunch of shit. There we go. Okay, fixed it. Good.
We've been very rich in terms of our perceptions of each other and our aspirations for a city that is fair and equal and democratic.
Anna Rothery is active in local politics. She has represented Labour.
Technical wizard Rob.
In Britain.
You're hearing it more and more.
Thousands of trade unionists surged. I used to tag along with Mum, busted the bread for the miners and the dockers.
Liverpool is a bastion of Labour, a party born from trade unions and the working class. The city stands in contrast to southern counties of England, which overwhelmingly favour the right-wing Conservative Party.
I think we're always known as a fight-back city. You know, we are very steadfast in terms of fighting against injustice. We don't quit. We continue to fight until we see the movement that we need to see.
Build bridges, not walls.
In 2015, Labour Party members across Britain elect a new leader.
Can't have that kind of talk.
He has a radical vision that challenges Britain's establishment.
The wonderful campaign that I was involved with, that I was so proud to lead, brought a lot of people back into politics because they believed there was something on offer for them.
Membership of the Labour Party doubles.
The absolute boy.
The files tell the story of how the hopes of many new party supporters are crushed. How established politicians and party bureaucrats use the media to destroy a movement that sought to change British society.
So Britain is becoming like the US with two right-wing parties. No, I would say that it's been like that since the Blair years, right? That would be my read. Anyways, and people in the UK could maybe like push back on that if you want, but really that was what the Blairism was transforming the Labour Party, similar to the Democratic Party, into like a neoliberal center right-wing party with maybe a few little feints towards social justice or, you know, that kind of thing to differentiate themselves. And Corbynism represented an attempt to pull it back in the direction of being like a real sort of social democratic party. And this movement was very close to being successful, but it was ruthlessly crushed with full cooperation from people in the party and the media. So the media played a large role in this, which I think this is going to get into. So it's not that it's now like that. It was like that previously, and Corbynism represented an effort to pull it back in a different direction, and it was just completely crushed.
It's no secret that quite a lot of papers had it in for Corbyn. They were open. They wanted to hear that Corbyn was a thug, or his supporters were thugs. And so they didn't probably investigate these claims with the professionalism which I'm including myself in this, should have done.
This is obviously
that's an understatement.
Corbyn loses 2 elections.
I will not lead the party in any future general election campaign.
Corbyn still just lives rent-free in these people's heads as well. You saw it today with like the thing about the Thatcher Doom game and everything. Even though they crushed him, you know, it's not enough. Even though they crushed the movement, even though that they permanently smeared this person as being some kind of fucking racist, anti-Semite terrorism supporter, it wasn't enough for them. Even they won. They literally got everything they want. They literally won. And it's still not enough. This man still lives rent-free in their heads. They still cannot stop fucking thinking about this guy, which is why I hope that he does continue to play a part in British politics. It's why I hope that he does actually hopefully start a new party or run for something else, run for mayor of London. I've heard him talking about. I hope he does, because these fucking ghouls that did this to this Labour Party movement, he makes them so fucking angry, and I hope he continues to do that. I hope he really continues to do that. I'm sure the quote tweets to Corbyn's Allende video on 9/11 were unhinged. I'm sure they were. Liberals would rather play chicken with fascism than move one iota left. Yeah, it seems like a lot of these British journalists in the British establishment that are all part of this elite system, that all went to the same private schools, that are all part of this establishment, it sure seems like they sort of circled the wagons around to protect their class interests when they come under this mild threat. And again, Corbyn's not some extremist radical. He's not. He's a mild social democrat grandpa with some actual like anti-imperialist leanings. And even that was just way too much for these people. Way, way too much for them.
Tell the inside story of what happened to Corbyn. When he is elected 4 years earlier, he has no control over the party's bureaucracy. As leader of the opposition party in British politics, Corbyn has his own office. The General Secretary, Ian McNicol, is in charge of the party staff at its headquarters. It includes a legal unit then headed by John Stolliday. Below him are teams that deal with complaints and suspensions from the party.
From the moment Jeremy Corbyn was elected, he faced complete opposition and resistance from the party staff, people who are paid to do the work of the party.
The party headquarters is at a central London building called Southside.
The senior staff of the Labour Party were operating a different strategy from that which the leadership, the democratically elected leadership, had decided upon. So they were sabotaging, if you like, the democratic will of the party.
In Liverpool, the files tell the story of a city deprived of its voice.
Should have done those purges.
We don't want anybody who's got an ounce of time for Jeremy Corbyn.
The Labour files show how, behind the scenes, party bureaucrats prevent Rothery seeking higher office.
She has a Jekyll and Hyde character. Someone who can be quite rational, and then in seconds turns into a screaming banshee.
It's a lesson for all of us.
It's a vile comment to make.
We got to have more purges.
Such a horrible comment to make. About
Sometimes those purges are actually pretty cool.
Banshee.
Big Purge fan over here, and not the film franchise.
A cabal like this can predetermine the direction of travel of an entire movement.
Yeah, and of course, Liverpool dock workers on 2-week strike right now, I believe. Yeah, and of course, like the Labour Party could never stand with any of those people. You can't go stand on a picket with any of these striking workers. Of course, no one in the Labour Party would ever do such a thing. That would just be preposterous.
You know, uncharted waters.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Ethical 3-month cult member. When do I get my badge?
Thank you to Slam Funkadunk for the 3 months tier 1. That should be in the mail. It should be triggered automatically. It is not a cult, though, to be clear. Just so we're totally clear on that. It is not a cult. It should be in the mail, though. I would talk to Lodane about that. It is also not a pyramid scheme. That is true. That is not accurate. That is not accurate as well. We'll get into this later.
It's a story that starts across the Mersey River in the summer of 2016.
You get the jumpsuit at 6 months. There we go.
The Wallasey Labour Party was a really friendly organisation. There was no hostility, no arguments. There was the occasional debate about things where we differ.
You're mad at Corbyn for being Stalinist. I'm mad at Corbyn for not being Stalinist enough. We are not the same. That's right. Plus, unfortunately, a lot of the British public don't like Corbyn over Brexit and Labour supporting Remain in EU. They thought he was trying to overturn the referendum and break promise, but it was the saboteurs who were pressuring him to do it. He wanted to respect the public's vote. Yeah, and I think Corbyn was always kind of like soft pro-Brexit, right? But because it was these fascists like Nigel Farage that were the ones that were like driving that narrative, it became politically tricky to just come out and say, yeah, I'm pro-Brexit, but just to articulate a left-wing viewpoint of why Brexit was a good thing, why the EU is a bad thing, why it's this horrible neoliberal institution, and why Britain should leave the EU. You know, and Corbyn never really articulated that. And I think when he had a more pro-Brexit stance, lo and behold, they had a great election result. And then when he gave in to the Ramoners, in the Labour Party and tried to suggest, you know, we're going to do a new referendum and all this stuff, immediately lost all the support of these working class communities that wanted Brexit.
But there is a mood of crisis in the party.
Jeremy Corbyn's Labour leadership is in crisis as he loses 9
I told Jeremy Corbyn last night that I no longer had confidence in
The Labour Party is in turmoil. Numerous members of his shadow cabinet.
I just feel the party needs leadership and direction.
It's been a disastrous weekend for the Labour Party. There have been mass resignations by 11 shadow ministers.
Please, for the sake of our party, leave.
He now needs to step aside.
It becomes known as the chicken coup.
Yeah, it was very funny when they tried to coup him like early on. They tried to get rid of him early on and he ended up getting more support. I go back and forth. I don't even think there was any realistic way to purge the party. It was absolutely stacked to the brim with these sorts in every department, plus the entirety of the media and influential forces in intelligentsia and national institutions and the army and the police were 100% against him. I mean, that's true, Sam. But I guess, like, you know, we saw what happened when he tried to sort of like play the game, and it was rigged against him. So I like, regardless of whether it would have worked, I think the inescapable conclusion is that a more ruthless approach would be necessary. It's so funny that David Cameron destroyed Britain by doing what he thought would be a joke referendum to appease the right-wing sections of the Tories. He was kind of hoisted by his own petard on that one, wasn't he? He absolutely was. It's obvious from a SOCDEM point of view that Brexit is bad. If you like capitalism, you like trade. But if you're actually leftist, it's undemocratic and bad for many reasons. Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think an actual like left-wing viewpoint of Brexit was ever really articulated by Corbyn or by anyone else. But Sam is right. It's almost like you can't reform these institutions. It does kind of seem like that sometimes, doesn't it? It does kind of seem like that. It's hard to argue with that. It does seem like it's just totally not possible.
Good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Hell yeah, brother. Rob is back.
Thank you, Red Wizard. Thank you for the 1 year of Tier 1, Red Wizard. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
In Wallasey, Labour Party members hold their
It do be like that.
A year earlier, they had nominated Corbyn as party leader. The Member of Parliament for Wallasey is Angela Eagle. She is unable to attend the meeting.
Our MP, Angela Eagle, had been very supportive of Jeremy in the meetings where she would come along to constituency meetings and give a report about what had been going on.
According to Runswick, the meeting ends without incident. A week later, a prominent opponent to Corbyn claims that Eagle, who is openly lesbian, is the victim of abuse.
I got a phone call saying that there was a television programme where Tessa Jowell was saying that Angela had been subject to homophobic abuse at the meeting.
I mean, I talked to Angela about her meeting. She faced homophobic abuse at that meeting.
Angela wasn't at the meeting, but the inference was that she was. She wasn't.
Activists and members of Parliament and their staff are facing day in, day out harassment and, in some cases, intimidation.
The Corbyn Bros.
I rang other people who were at the meeting. It was just a complete shock. We didn't know anything about it.
No one heard this, you know. The sort of people you don't use language like that.
Harassment.
There was no homophobia or intimidation at the meeting. It's a very small room, so it would be very easy to hear what was being said by other people.
Look at these vile bigots that were at this meeting. Look at them. It's so dangerous and scary, these folks.
Interviews saying that there'd been people shouting that Angela was a
Look at that. It's the same playbook.
There was articles.
The Corbyn bully boys torturing women. Have you heard about that? Have you heard something like that before? It's the exact same playbook, isn't it? The Corbyn bully boys. Those evil Corbyn cultists. That's right. The Corbyn bully boys. Oh, bruv. That's right. It's so cynical. It's so cynical. And that's the thing in the future. It's like people have to be able to recognize a smear campaign. No matter how difficult it is, and no matter the things that get said about you when you point out that this smear campaign is happening. Like this is going to be the same thing that's going to happen. Anytime anyone comes along that even remotely threatens the status quo or the establishment, it's going to be this. Every fucking time. And as I said, it's unfortunate because when anti-Semitism, when sexism, misogyny, anti-LGBTQ stuff is weaponized in this way, it makes it more difficult and not less difficult to confront these very real problems. And I hope no one ever gets the impression that I don't think these problems exist. Of course they do. But when these things get cynically weaponized in order to crush movements that threaten the establishment, it makes it more difficult to confront those issues and not less difficult.
And television interviews saying that there'd been people shouting that Angela was a dyke, that there was homophobic gestures made, and repeated homophobic comments. Then over the days and weeks to follow, the allegations grew into, first of all, it was widespread homophobia.
What happened?
Remember the chair throwing thing? Remember that one? The chair throwing? And how these things escalate into like, it's not only that a few homophobic comments were made, but like it turned into this almost riot, right? And how these little fucking smears end up getting advanced and just completely like exponentially increasing in severity and intensity. Was Owen Jones in on the Corbyn defamation? Owen Jones, if I recall, I think prior to the 2017 election where they had a great result, was very skeptical of Corbyn and was kind of trying to position himself against Corbyn. To his credit, I think did become a fairly reliable Corbyn supporter, but did also give credence to a lot of these smears. And he was trying to walk this line, if I recall, maybe I'm not right, if I recall correctly though, was trying to walk this line.
Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I
boy.
was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
He was one of the Labour left-wing people that were trying to walk this line between supporting Corbyn, but also saying, but if we need to take this very seriously and stuff, which of course had a fucking disastrous effect. Lucid Fox, thank you so much for the raid. Oh my goodness.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh my goodness.
The Rob Rousseau, Poggers.
I really appreciate the raid, Lucid Fox. I hope you had a great stream today. How did it go? I hope it was wonderful. Thank you, Ghost, as well for the 20 months of Tier 1. Thank you, Ghost. How was the Lucid Fox stream today? What did you talk about? I am Rob Rousseau. You might know me from Twitter. You might know me from the Insurgents podcast, where Lucid Fox has been a guest. You might know me from this very stream. You might not know me at all. But I am a socialist Twitch streamer here in Montreal, Quebec.
You can count on me.
I encourage everyone to smash the follow button.
To talk you through all this.
Smixel lick, real Jodies find a way, smixel lick, rip, Marvin Cease, smixel lick, welcome back, Rob, smixel lick.
Thank you, Rivier and Ravens. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
What was that? 7 months of Tier 1. Thank you, Rivier and Ravens. Thank you. Thank you, Dimitri, for another gifted sub. Very much appreciated. So I would encourage people to smash the follow button, though. I would encourage people to smash that follow button, even if you can't subscribe or whatever. I hope we see a couple of follow button smashers in the chat. This is River. My username just got gentrified with mommies. Okay, I think I picked up on that while I was saying it. Montreal, going to be there in October. Anything I can't miss? This is a great food city. This is one of the best food cities in the world, so it really depends on what you're looking for. But the real Montreal experience, what I would recommend doing is going to Main Diner on Saint Laurent Boulevard. Go to Main Diner and get the smoked meat special over there for the true Montreal experience. I'm sorry you've been brought to a Canadian stream. And Simica, I apologize on Lucid's behalf for that you got brought to this Canadian stream, but I am in the process of trying to destabilize and disrupt and eventually destroy the fake country known as Canada. So if that means anything to you, I am working on that. Yeah, so Stu and I will be there in November. That's great, Marina. I'll give you a couple of recommendations, okay? I will give you a couple recommendations. So please, one more call to action. One more call to action to please smash the follow button. Call to action number 2, join the Discord server. Totally free. Both of these things are free of charge. Smashing the follow button and joining the Discord server costs you nothing. And you will not regret it, okay? This is my promise to you. You will not regret it. We actually don't tolerate anti-Canadianism here. It depends on who it's from. To be honest. Okay, let's continue this video. So for our friends that just joined us, we are watching this Al Jazeera report on the sort of the coordinated smear campaign to take down Jeremy Corbyn that took place, between 2015 and 2019, basically, and was highly coordinated between members of the Labour Party, high-ranking members of the Labour Party, the British establishment, the media, all worked together to destroy this social democratic movement through lies and smears. And it was not very popular to point that out when it was going on. You were called all kinds of names, but a lot of that stuff is being confirmed now. And this report is part of that. So let's continue watching the Labour files, this Al Jazeera investigation.
What happened in Wallasey is to become the playbook of Corbyn's opponents in the party. The Labour files reveal the series of complaints filed by Eagle supporters to the party.
Limp wrist gestures were made at our LGBT officer, and nasty homophobic comments were made about our MP.
I did not see any limp wrist gestures, and
I went to
there were
Concordia
no
as well,
homophobic
Octavia.
comments made about the MP.
I had no homophobic abuse. I don't know anyone who did. And there was no other abuse.
Look at these vile bigots again. These vile bigots hurling homophobic abuse.
The room was full of trade unionists who are well aware that their jobs were on the line if any slurs about homophobia or misogyny were found to be true. I just was stunned.
It didn't happen. And yes, I did repeatedly say that these things didn't happen because they didn't. As simple as that. And I'll say that forever.
My daughter got married the day after the meeting, and she married a woman. I wasn't alone on the top table with a relative who identifies as bisexual. So it just seems strange that anybody would think that we would allow that to go on.
And here you have people who seem palpably decent, men and women. In order to damage the local Labour Party, a real horrible hatchet job is being done on the local members.
Eagle then reveals her intention, not to support Corbyn, but to challenge him.
Today, I'm announcing my decision to stand for the leadership of the Labour Party.
There we go. I wonder what the accusers feel about trans people. Great question. Very, very good
We're
question.
not supporting their MP's leadership bid.
This is so cynical. This is so
Angela
fucking
Eagle
cynical.
And her staff started to become paranoid that she was going to be deselected, as in her local members would say, well, we don't want you to be our MP next time there's a general election. And so that was something which they were very animated about.
I'm looking forward to having a debate with Jeremy Corbyn about the things that really matter to our country.
Yeah, seriously, Sam. It's so fucking evil. It's so slimy. These fucking snakes.
It must have been said very loudly. Now, those 17 people heard it. Other people in the room would also have heard it.
I just moved to the UK, so this is timely. You gotta know what you're getting into. The snake den that you're diving into
Stewart
here.
sends the dossier to party headquarters.
I have also attached a slip of paper that was handed to me previously by a Momentum member.
Momentum was an organisation set up in 2015 to give some kind of organisational form to the movement.
We simply
that supported
use the
Jeremy
computer
Corbyn.
to mark up the
Stewart
size of the
claims
account.
note is evidence of
Thanks, Dimitri, for the 100 friend coin. Eagle, the MF at the American National Animal is her last name. It was a clue. Seriously. Seriously. But you have to take this stuff very seriously at the same time. You have to make sure that you're you don't want to be accused of being a bigot, so you have to listen. You have to listen anytime these accusations are hurled around, don't you?
of a plot by Momentum.
How to take control of Labour Party meetings.
It's not the kind of note that I've ever seen anyone circulating seriously. This is a note caricaturing what the militant tendency was accused of doing in the 1980s.
At this year's Labour conference, militants and its supporters seem to have had as high a profile as ever.
Byron, I'm happy you joined us on the stream today. It seems like you picked a good stream to show up for the first time. Happy to have you today.
The militant tendency was a radical left faction that was accused of secretly plotting to take over the Labour Party. At that time, it controlled Liverpool's local government.
For the right of the Labour Party, the battle against militant in the 1980s is kind of biblical. It's the foundation of their politics.
A think tank from the right of the party publishes a review of a book about the militant tendency. It claims to describe militant strategy for taking over party meetings in the 1980s. The note from Councillor Stewart is copied directly from the book review.
Oh, a little cold B, that thing about the what branch, the comment that you're talking about, I don't know if it's in this episode of the Labor Files, but that is incredibly fucking damning in terms of this. I think it might be this episode, we'll see. But I know exactly the clip you're referring to. And it's so slimy. Good to be here. I left the Twitter sphere about 12 months ago for my own mental health, so I've been very much in the trenches of this crap over the last 6-7 years. I don't doubt it, Byron. And good on you for leaving Twitter. I think something I've been giving a lot of thought about recently as well. I've been using Twitter much less recently, and lo and behold, my mental health has increased dramatically since that time. I wonder if there's any kind of coincidence. I think it's good when leftists are militant as well, Biggerwig. I agree.
I don't know if somebody has passed a note like that. I don't know. They're totally bonkers if they have. I find it hard to believe that a document like that would be passed around that I wouldn't have got to hear about personally.
Some people said Tom Watson's there. He knows.
Tom Watson, Corbyn's deputy, but privately a critic,
Tom
obtains Stewart's
Watson,
note.
another fucking snake.
Watson then writes to Corbyn.
There is no denying that tightly organised factions are organising within Momentum and the party.
At the end of Watson's letter, he says,
Wam Totson.
I attach a document that I am reliably informed is being shared between Momentum members with links to far-left parties, which summarises the methods used by Militant in the 1980s. I hope this note helps to dispel any remaining notion
Evidence?
that
Just trust me,
is a
bro.
conspiracy theory.
Just trust me.
Paul Stewart's note ends up in the national media.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
TRRS Prashad.
Thank you, Osaku. 8 months resub at tier 2. I appreciate that very much, Osaku. Thank you. And Squatch Drew, what's up? What's up, Squatch? Welcome. This is funny. Tom Watson sends Corbyn proof of Trotskyist labor infiltration. Those people should be purged. If that's true, I hope this was real. You got to avoid the Trotskyist labor infiltration. You got to avoid that. That's true. I actually agree with Tom Watson on that one. You got to be alert for that kind of thing. You can smell them. Hardcore Trotskyites. You do have to hand it to him in this one. You do have to hand it to Tom on this one. He maybe had something there with that.
Paul Stewart's note ends up in the national media.
As Tom Watson says, are you allowing Trotskyists and the hard left to infiltrate Labour?
This is how
You can't let those Trotskyists in there.
the political media space. You have something which is reportable and
I only wish Stalin would have gotten all of them.
becomes one of these facts, which of course isn't a fact, and that's how a large number of these stories come about.
I think the British media has a lot.
How's this guy's his deputy is privately against him?
Thinking,
great situation.
Some of the Corbyn supporters are a rotten lot. The media should have done what the media is supposed to do, which is to question the official versions of the truth, or the Labour Party version of the truth, and gone and say, is it really what was really going on?
The files reveal that Angela Eagle colluded with party bureaucrats in Labour's London headquarters. Stewart writes to senior party official Emily Oldknow.
I think that the constituency Labour Party is out of control and should be suspended with immediate effect.
Oldknow forwards the message to Ian McNichol, the party's general secretary. Obviously,
And also, how does the media get wind of it? If it's a private email, he clearly leaked it himself. Of course, there's the people in the Labour Party, like Tom Watson and like all these like establishment Labour Party guys, were working hand in hand with the media throughout this entire period, leaking them stories and like deliberately undermining Corbyn and undermining the party, literally preventing their own party from winning an election. They probably would have won that election in 2017 without people in the Labour Party literally, not an exaggeration, literally deliberately undermining their own party so they did not win, working hand in hand with the media. And this is not a conspiracy whatsoever. This is a fact. This is a fact about what happened.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Hi, Rob. Glad you're back.
Thank you very much, Ms. Squatch, for the 8 months, tier 1. I very much appreciate that. I'm happy to be back. Thank you.
Anything would have to be agreed with Angela.
McNichol responds.
She is happy for
Yeah,
constituency Labour
very
Party
clear,
to be
very
suspended, and so
big connection to the Warren thing. Yeah.
Oldknow emails back.
We have to do what Angela wants in these circumstances.
And remember the thing about Warren, too. The story that came out of the Warren thing was not that Warren tried to fucking this lame attempt at backstabbing Bernie, but the snake emojis, folks. The snake emojis. Misogynist snake emojis. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's the what was the news cycle about that? About a week? 2 weeks? We heard about the misogynist snake emojis. There was like people in the Warren campaign that were like, I was working in social media and I had to get counseling after. It was so traumatizing to see all these emojis. These phallic snake emojis are anti-Semitism, and it's rape culture as well. So, Jesus Christ. Like, you know, these things, these narratives happen at the time, and it seems ridiculous. It seems especially ridiculous in hindsight, though, doesn't it? In retrospect. It's like, I can't believe that was even a thing. Unbelievable. I had to get counseling from the Warren staffers. Got Holocaust tattoos. Amazing. Fucking amazing. It was my personal Vietnam. Jesus.
Oldknow emails back.
We have to do what Angela wants in these circumstances.
Jesus.
Now, that's new to me because up until now...
They did
I've
need
always said
counseling,
that
true.
I could never prove that Angela was involved in any of this because I couldn't.
Southside suspends Wallasey Labour Party. They are banned from holding official meetings.
Unbelievable.
Paul Davies organises a public meeting.
And they're complaining about Corbyn doing Stalinist purges at the same time while doing this. It's fucking unbelievable.
This is your chance to find out what is really going on in Wallasey Labour Party and your chance to have your say.
Allies of Paul Stewart complained to party bureaucrats that Davies delivered the flyers only to the homes of party members.
I witnessed Paul Davies posting the flyer through our letterboxes. No one else in our close received this flyer.
Projection, always.
Stewart claims Davies has illegally obtained party membership data.
I am aghast that such clear data protection has been breached, yet nothing seems to have been done about this.
Stewart demands that Davies is expelled from the party and reported to the police.
The police and/or the Information Commissioner's Office should be informed of this clear breach of data.
But Davies was not in Wallasey on the day they claim.
I was in London, which is unusual. I don't go to London very often. I got to see a show, if I remember rightly. But if I hadn't been in London, if I hadn't had train tickets, if I hadn't had credit cards, I would have been expelled from the Labour Party because some people got together and decided that'd be a good way to get rid of me.
There's still so much time left in this video. Jesus Christ, I'm going to have to stop pausing it so much. How much time do we even have left on the stream? I got about another hour and a half, so I've got to really fucking focus on getting through this. I think maybe today's plan may have been a little bit ambitious. I don't know.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Yeah, thank you, Dimitri. You could call it authoritarianism. You could.
Well, I like him. He's got a sense of humour. It's a bit lucky they didn't suspend me.
Maybe I could do it in 2
If that had
parts.
been me, I'd have been saying, well, how did this happen? Well, they know how it happened. They know that people are getting together to construct evidence against little old me.
Metadata from the files reveals who wrote the complaints against Davies.
Right. So
What's up, God's own
the
drunk?
original email or document, you can get to who authored it. And the author is the email address of Paul Stewart because I've emailed him. So Paul Stewart wrote that document.
You got a bit of a Labour stun knock there, you reckon?
Relatives and friends to sign.
Davies dares the accusers to take a lie detector test in front of journalists. Party headquarters suspends him from the Labour Party for 2 years. John Stolliday leads the legal department. Reporting to him is the head of disputes, Sam Matthews. He's charged with investigating the alleged homophobic comments. Only 4 of the original 17 complainants heard any.
4 people explicitly claim to have heard the Dyke comment. 3 of those 4 people have the same surname. I interviewed one of them, and I firmly believe his account.
The common surname is Stewart.
They tried the data breach BS to the DNC with Bernie too with their dumb apps. A lot of crossover too with like the consultancy. Like there's been like neoliberal Democratic Party consultants that have worked with the Labour Party as well, right? And the Conservative Party. Jim Messina, infamously, was an Obama consultant who worked with the Tories against Corbyn. But that's why this is the same tactics, because it's the same people doing the advising and the consulting over it.
Received many hundreds of abusive, homophobic and frightening messages sent by Labour members.
The files show that, despite this claim,
You can count on
no
me.
Labour Party
You're gonna have
members
good
are
old
suspended
Rob
for
to
homophobic
talk you
behaviour.
through all this.
I've missed Ya and the community more than I would like to admit.
Thank you, God's own drunk. We missed you too. Thank you so much. 9 months of Prime. Very much appreciated. Happy to be back. Happy to have you back as well.
Yeah. But Matthews keeps the constituency party suspended for over a year. He emails Oldknow.
I have every sympathy for the fact that Angela is still in a difficult situation as they are properly organised in her constituency.
Matthews also recognises that Wallasey's membership supports Corbyn and not Angela Eagle.
My worry is that based on track record, no matter how much time we give Angela to organise, so little work will go into it that we'll end up getting asked to extend it further and further.
So we have no democracy. If you have an inner core of 6, 8 or 10 people nationally with their tentacles spreading out to various regions, saying who can be a candidate, saying who can be a member, then you control the body politic of one of the major parties in this country. And I find that is undemocratic. Basically, it's a coup by a group of people to take over one of the major political parties in Britain.
Brighton is a progressive city in the UK. It's kind of known for being progressive. It's known for being kind of liberal, left-leaning.
Lovely city, Brighton. Been there a couple times.
The movement behind Jeremy Corbyn was very strong in Brighton and actually in other places on the south coast.
The local branch becomes the largest in the country with over 6,000 members. The party organises its first general meeting since Corbyn became leader.
The atmosphere in the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn...
You might think this could be a good thing.
...was one of cheer.
That's the amazing thing. It's like, lo and behold, our party's actually becoming popular. We have citizens going to like local community meetings and they're excited about the Labour Party. Oh, this won't do. We can't have this. This is not good at all. Like, it's amazing. They were literally like upset and scared about their party becoming more popular with people and people taking more of an interest in the party and trying to change it democratically. They're like, no, we can't have this. They can't have this. They're excited about the party and the leader. This is not good. We can't have this at all. This is very dangerous.
On the solidarity. We organised a rally before the annual meeting of the City Party. Anyone was invited, and we had about 700-800 people there.
What horrible incidents occurred at this
the leader of the
meeting?
Labour group in the Brighton City Council sends an email to his supporters.
I'm emailing to ask you a favour. Next Saturday, our City Labour Party faces a takeover by a group of individuals from Momentum and other fringe left-wing groups. This party has faced down militant before. I'm asking you to help do that again.
I was a member of Momentum at that time, and we decided we would run a left slate, which we did. We went into that meeting open, honest, transparent, to make speeches, and when we were elected, we were very pleased.
We all had 65%
Terrible.
of the vote.
Terrible. Mass membership terrifies them. They don't want power to be that dissipated amongst a Democratic member base. They want fewer members, more corporate donors, and less union involvement. It's literally the Blair model. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. People seem to like this Corbyn bloke. We might as well betray him. There we go. That's exactly what happened. That's literally exactly what happened. So fringe, there was the largest political party in Europe and more members than at any point in their modern history. That's right. It's just really dangerous stuff.
2 in 3 people attending it, a record turnout, a record majority, had won. Fantastic.
But actually, in retrospect, we went into that meeting like lambs to the slaughter. We had no idea of the level of corruption and conspiracy and lies and abuse that would follow as a consequence of a democratic election.
And again, this really looks like a really dangerous individual, this woman. Really one of these dangerous, bigoted Corbyn supporters, terrorist sympathizers. If you see this woman walking down the street, you're crossing to the other side. This is just a dangerous individual, obviously.
Within Brighton.
Then I got a call.
Terrifying.
It's about 10:30, I think, that night. I was just outside the theatre. It was a call from someone in Jeremy Corbyn's office, someone I knew. And she said, I thought she was ringing to congratulate me, as I got texts and phone calls. But no, she rang me and said, yes, we've got to do something about the spitting. We've got to be able to rebut the spitting. I said, what? What spitting?
Oh, spitting.
The following day, Morgan sends a complaint to Labour's regional office.
Remember that chair throwing thing? Remember? It's the fucking same playbook, isn't it? There was spitting. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Venue staff were allegedly spat at. Others were verbally intimidated. Our organizer was assaulted and abused.
This is so fucking
I have no
evil.
hesitation in saying that this is a hostile takeover of the party.
This is so fucking evil. Oh my
These fake
God.
accusations were shooting around the world before truth gets its boots on. It took me 48 hours to piece together what anybody could have pieced together. And that is, lies had been told. They'd been told repeatedly. Over 2 or 3 days, with repeated opportunities, they lied. They lied, lied, and lied again. I took 78 statements, 23,000 words, named people who attended, and every single person said there was nothing wrong. When I got the CCTV footage proving there was no spitting, the allegations disappeared.
Despite having no evidence that
But then look at the time and effort that goes into rebutting these bullshit claims. Like then this guy has to spend the next fucking week of his life finding fucking all this evidence and refuting this. Like even if, and meanwhile, how many people believe that spitting happened and will just never believe anything different after that, you know? All the energy and money to defend yourself against the smears. Yeah. You know? And then this is like, this was the strategy for the entire time. They were spitting facts. Oh my. Fuck it. This is just so enraging to watch. This is so enraging.
Or aggression took place. The files show that Labour's legal unit is intent on overturning the victory.
Yeah, they go get
of the pro-Corbyn
CCTV
faction.
footage to show that they're not spitting.
Catherine Buckingham from the disputes unit writes to her boss.
What's your feeling on Brighton?
The head of the legal unit replies.
Exactly what you proposed. Overturn the annual general meeting, deal with individuals, while we worry about applying the rules correctly and legal niceties.
Buckingham feels confident.
This is Western liberal democracy in action,
it's all
friends.
about to come to a head. I'm not worried about any of those things. I say act now and worry about those things later.
This is the beautiful democracy that we love to lecture people in other countries about. We love to lecture people in Cuba about our beautiful democracy.
The biggest mistake I've made, apart from joining the Labour Party in the first place, was winning an election in the Labour Party, and they can't stand that.
Can't have that.
In a residential suburb of London, Labour Party members meet to discuss the role of their local MP in the so-called chicken coup against Corbyn.
Feelings were running quite high because there was a perception that the MP in Harrow West, Gareth Thomas, had been very unsupportive towards Jeremy Corbyn, the leader, and had resigned from the shadow cabinet. And there was a motion that criticised Gareth Thomas for this. And various people
This is
spoke
sad.
in favour of it.
It's fucking enraging.
But I actually spoke against it because I didn't think it would be that helpful.
And just remember as well, this was about a movement of people that were not radicals, that didn't want austerity anymore, that wanted a little bit more nationalization of like public services, that wanted to claw back some of the gains of like the neoliberal era, the Thatcher era, and restore some of the vast wealth of this country and give it to working people. And Corbyn, who had a more anti-imperialist view on foreign policy and Israel and Syria and all these different kind of like hot button political, geopolitical issues. That's what it was all over, you know? They were not talking about like stringing up business owners or landlords or any of that shit. 50% were socialist grannies, at least. This is how the freak out that came from this very mild, very reasonable social democratic movement.
Fitzpatrick says the mood suddenly turned sour.
Michael Borio, who was a councillor, became very angry.
I hope Paul Mason's handler is not getting paid, Karam. I hope so. He should be paying them, whoever's put him in that position, because he's fucking not doing a good job.
Agitated and stood up and started shouting primarily at me.
The main problem is that they believed in Palestinian human rights.
I didn't respond. I continued to respond to the chair, and I remained calm throughout that time. And the meeting ended, and that was that, really.
Is it right? The vast bulk of supporters weren't radical, that the platform was in lots of ways.
Computer to mark up the size of the account.
Usually when people are sad, they don't do anything. They just cry over their condition. But when they get angry, they bring about a change. Malcolm the 10th.
Malcolm the 10th. Thank you, Dimitri, for the 200 friend coin. I think you're angry. Try living here, just being a vocal Corbyn supporter during this. I can't even fucking imagine, King Uendo. And Sam says the vast bulk of supporters weren't radical, though the platform was in many ways. But that's the thing, and it was only radical in comparison to like the decades-long rightward drift of the British political establishment, starting from the Thatcher era, right? It was radical in that sense, but in terms of like the actual program that was on offer, it was completely like straight down the middle, like social democracy, not radical in any way, you know? The Hassanabi waiting room channel was just playing one of Hassan's oldest clips, where he came on and discussed being featured in an InfoWars as an illegal voter, bussing in illegal immigrant voters. Good times. That's great. White people sad. We need to have more Hassan refugees coming in here, because now here I am on Twitch. Hassan, Mr. Big Shot. Mr. Big Shot Hassan Piker. Can't take the time to signal boost little old me. Small time streamers like me. So I hope we see more Hassan refugees come in here to talk about this stuff. Don't forget to add Twitch tags for discoverability, like politics, stuff like that, because just chatting category, not politics. Getting in the politics tag, though, can lead to some wild shit going on in the chat. I'll tell you that much. Hassan refugee. There we go. We got a couple. We got a couple of you. There's some wild shit that happens in the chat when I'm in that politics tab. Anyway, I'm happy that I was really happy to go on the Hassan stream that time. You know, that was really cool. This is a safe third stream. That's right. We got a couple of Hassan maniacs. We love it. We love it. Maybe one day Hassan will condescend to talking to me on this stream. He has been on the podcast, yes. Even if he doesn't come on the stream, I would love to challenge him to a game of hoops. As everyone knows, I can hoop. Everyone knows this. Anyway. Let's get back to this.
Fitzpatrick is suspended from the Labour Party. No reason is given.
I was really, really upset, in tears a lot of the time, actually, over this.
It is the pylons when the politics weirdos show up are pretty good, though, too.
Made by Michael Borio led to Fitzpatrick's suspension.
So I've got an email here from Councillor Michael Borio. I haven't seen this before. None of this I've actually said, which is quite shocking. At a meeting where Michael Borio was aggressive and shouting at me, and at which I've not responded, he's actually twisted it so that I'm the aggressor shouting at him and being rude at him.
I was shouted down and heckled by
Maybe
Councillor
after his son gets cancelled, after his ankles get broken from a crossover, he can come on here to help rehabilitate his image.
Abuse, bully, or attack our fellow Labour colleagues.
It is completely fabricated.
This is so fucking evil.
It's astonishing that a party that calls itself a democratic party would behave like this.
The branch chair compares the methods used to suspend Fitzpatrick.
This is what This is what happened in the Labour Party. This is what this like strategy is in the world of wrestling, okay? This is what it is. Wait, no, sorry. This is what it is.
On Eddie Guerrero. Smackdown grin of Eddie Guerrero, which means he's up to no good. Oh, this is where Eddie Guerrero does his magic. I mean, accidentally the referee got...
This is a little illustration.
Eddie Guerrero with steel chair in hand. The referee's been knocked down.
These are like the Blair... Eddie Guerrero is like the Blairites. Mr. Anderson is one of the Corbyn supporter, the socialist Corbyn supporters. That's what happened.
To those of Soviet spies.
They do the purges, they do the intimidation, they do all the dirty underhanded tricks, and then they accuse others of doing the exact same thing that they're currently doing. And they go, oh no! Like one of those soccer guys. You get the little hit on the shoulder, they're rolling around on the ground and stuff. Projection, like we were saying, it's always projection.
The suspensions were done in a draconian and secretive way, which owed more to the style of the KGB than the Labour Party.
I was really, really affected by it, actually, and had started to suffer with depression and anxiety about going to meetings. That was the first time I started to worry that when I went to meetings, I was going to be attacked.
The files reveal the role of local
Yeah, it's Ed Norton fighting his boss in Fight Club, yeah.
Of his own party. Thomas sends a letter to General Secretary Ian McNichol asking for pro-Corbyn activists in Harrow to be treated more harshly.
And once again, I'll just keep saying this though. I'll keep reiterating this. These are the people that were accusing Corbyn of carrying out Stalinist purges. These are the very same people. It's so fucking cynical.
Thomas proposes
reviewing the disciplinary procedures.
Yeah, very similar to what happened to Bernie. White people, very similar.
And allow them to continue their
it's like I've been saying before, as this video has been going on. It's the playbook is identical. I keep reminding people of the chair throwing thing. Chairs were thrown at this caucus meeting. It's identical. It's the exact same playbook. The chair throwing. It's literally the Eddie clip. They literally talked about throwing chairs.
Into Harrow West.
The London regional organiser writes to Head of Disputes Sam Matthews.
Regarding Pamela Fitzpatrick, Gareth is getting very worried about it all and wants to come in to have a chat about it.
Gareth is chasing via Ian's office.
This email confirms that Gareth was behind all of this, including me. He publicly will say that he's very supportive of me. He's actually written, whilst he was planning to get rid of me, he's written letters in support of me that he'll send to local people.
Worked like a fucking charm.
That he's actually supporting me.
The files reveal that a number of MPs are involved in the purging of members of their own constituency party.
Worked like a charm.
The MP for Hove is Peter Kyle.
Remember that feeling of hope? Remember that small feeling of hope? When it looked like Corbynism was ascendant, when it looked like Bernie was ascendant, from that period between 2016 and 2020, that small feeling of hope that maybe things might be not so bad. Remember that feeling? These people were working behind the scenes overtime to ensure that would never amount to anything. It is a long distance memory. I know, I remember. It kind of felt like we were winning a little bit, you know? Kind of feel like socialism was winning. For a moment, a brief moment. No, and the disappointment never will not sting. I've said it many times on this program, Byron, but one of the most informative and educational moments for me was that period from 2019 to 2020, seeing Corbyn get crushed and seeing Bernie get crushed immediately by these very establishment types with the same playbook. Very, very enlightening and very radicalizing. One of the most radicalizing political moments in my whole life, you know?
He sends an email to the governance and legal unit.
Rebecca Massey, I would like to direct you in the strongest terms to investigate and to remove the member from the party.
I mean, with the Canadian example of what they did to Corbyn, have we had any socialist leaders get Mufasa by their party? No socialist has been able to actually get to the point of getting to that stage yet. The closest analogy would be Nikki Ashton, though, who was following that Bernie playbook, who is part of the sort of internationalist movement forming with Corbyn and Bernie. Nikki Ashton was supposed to be Canada's answer to that. And she was not able to win the NDP leadership. But I know there was an incident, I covered it on the show, and I talked to Nikki about it on this very program, where she was working with Corbyn and had people in her own party being going after her and trying to remove her from power because she was connected to Corbyn. And Corbyn was, of course, this vile anti-Semitic extremist. So she didn't even get to the point of leadership, but she still got the same treatment. And if she ever got even farther, she would get a lot more of the same treatment.
You will see a pattern of behaviour online which is also replicated in person. She is regularly aggressive to my staff and myself at meetings. I think it's very important that abusive and uncomradely behaviour is dealt with by the party.
It's astonishing that at that time, an MP would be making those assertions in order to get me expelled from the Labour Party. A man, I will say, I've had in my own house for meetings. I'm not an aggressive person.
Rebecca Massey
Jesus
avoids
Christ.
disciplinary measures and is elected as chair of a local branch. A former MP, Ivor Kaplan, is in the same branch. He complains to the regional office.
I must immediately request that this person's membership is suspended and subject to further investigation.
Kaplan sends a link to an article.
Whatever happened to Jugmeat saying I didn't hear much about that election process? Well, the thing about Jugmeat is he takes some okay positions. He's been, to his credit, he's been particularly good talking about Israel and being a critic of Israel, which of course is a very controversial thing. Jugmeat. I think someone who's more interested in being a TikTok influencer than a political leader, not a socialist, and not really a threat to power in any way, I don't think. Not a bad guy though. Seems like a totally decent guy, but nowhere near what we need to be as the leader of a left-wing movement in Canada, which of course just does not exist.
By a group known as the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. Massey's tweets describe her view of the influence of the pro-Israel lobby in Britain. The article states that Massey is
dedicated to the demonization of Israel.
It also
He's
alleges
just like
the
me for
problem of
real.
anti-Semitism in the Labour Party rests
squarely in the black hearts of individuals like her.
There was a whole article about how I was an anti-Semite. I began to be traduced.
February the 3rd, 2017 was the day that anti-Semitism was used for the first time in Brighton and Hove.
And that's when they really found something that would stick, didn't they?
Pro-Corbyn candidates. Because it was on the 3rd of February that the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism published a shocking article about Becky. Immediately amplified, retweeted, and drawn to the attention of media.
It's so fucking evil. These are just average people trying to get democratically involved in the political process in their country. And they fucking ruthlessly destroyed these people's entire lives. God damn, it's so awful.
From that initial one story, there have been 6 years of abuse following, always referring back to that initial story. And that's gone on for six years now.
A month earlier, Al Jazeera broadcast an investigation into Israel's attempts to influence British politics.
Using an undercover reporter, Al Jazeera's investigative unit exposes Israel's clandestine activities in London, a city that's become a major battleground. One of Israel's main targets is the Labour Party. For the first time, its leader is a champion of Palestinian civil rights.
They'd be very happy to see Jeremy Corbyn.
Weird
the
coincidence.
Labour Party for sure.
It's a covert action that penetrates the heart of Britain's democracy.
A senior political officer at the Israeli embassy discusses with a British civil servant how to deal with MPs who were critical of Israel.
Remember, when it's Russia doing this shit, though, it's something we got to really take seriously. It's weird how there's certain countries that are just allowed to interfere in our democratic politics, whether it's in the UK or the US or Canada. And there's certain countries like Israel that are just allowed. They're just allowed to do this kind of stuff. The lobbying, deliberately engaging in foreign influence operations to affect politics in other countries, or Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And it's just totally okay. But when other countries do it, though, when Russia does it, that's bad. That's not good. Russia bad. Can't have that. It sucks that it's so dangerous to critique an apartheid state without being speared as an effing anti-Semite. Yes, it does suck. Yes, it does. It's fucking outrageous, actually. It really is. And by the way, I thank once again our Hassan refugees that came by today. I appreciate you, and I hope you follow. I hope you follow the channel, and you keep coming back. Okay.
The investigation forces the Israeli ambassador to apologize to the British government, and the diplomat is sent home.
The diplomat in question no longer seems to be a functionary of the embassy in London. And so whatever he may exactly have been doing here, his cover can be said to have been well and truly blown.
The undercover operation also shows how a former employee at the Israeli embassy becomes leader of the Jewish labor movement.
Thank you, white people. You don't need to scream or harass Hassan. It's okay. One day, massive celebrity Hassan will speak to me again. I hope so.
Shai is the name of the disgraced Israeli operative. Ella Rose discusses methods she favors to deal with rivals within the party. Jackie Walker is a pro-Corbyn activist who supports civil rights for Palestinians.
I saw Jackie Walker on Saturday and thought, you know what, I can take her. She's like 5'2" behind you. I'm very open to them and their existence. As far as I'm concerned, they can go 9.5.
Cool.
Well, it's interesting to see that again, because obviously I have seen it before. And just the sort of smugness of the woman, talking about
Very
not
cool.
only
Yeah.
a fellow Jew and a fellow Labour Party member, as Jackie says, but a woman. It's
Worth pointing out as well. Very true. A lot of the people that were smeared the most in this anti-Semitism scam were Jewish. Right? Being Jewish or not Jewish has nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. Like my friend Ellie Valley, who's one of the most inspiring, I think, activists that I know, who stands up for Palestinian human rights, who's a critique of Israel, and is a very proud Jewish person who advances a lot of really positive, progressive values that have historically been associated with being Jewish.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk.
And he gets called a Nazi. He gets called a fascist, a capo. All the worst, most vile, all the worst things you could say, they say it about Ellie Valley. And it's the same thing. It's a lot of the same people. A lot of the people that were targeted just like this in the Labour Party were Jewish themselves and were smeared as being anti-Semites like this. And thank you, YPpo, for the tier 1 sub. Very happy to have you in the community. Thank you. I've been saying Eli. That's the thing. I thought it was Eli as well, but I talked to him on my podcast and he corrected me. It is Ellie Valley.
It's extraordinary.
Naomi Wimborne Idrisi is one of several party members who complain.
So a few of us women in the Labour Party who were Jewish got together and we sent in an official complaint. And we wrote to Ian McNichol, who was General Secretary at the
Shana
time, and we
Tova to all
said,
my fellow
obviously,
anti-Zionist Jews out there. It's Rosh
for
Hashanah
a
today.
Party member to be
Absolutely,
talking
Oscar.
about another party member in this way. What did he intend to do?
Ellie
about
Valley
it?
was anti-Semitic to Meghan McCain. That's
The
right.
Labour files reveal that party officials...
That's right. That's how fucking backwards this discourse is. Unbelievable.
treat Rose very differently to members who criticise Israel. Rose emails Sam Matthews, the then head of disputes.
Jesus.
I would very much like to volunteer to come and meet with you and all relevant members of the disputes team next week in order to clear this matter up at the earliest opportunity.
4 days later.
Yeah, and this is today. Thank you, Dimitri. This is today. Still going on. Today, my guest pass was taken away. How to make left-wing Jews welcome in Keir Starmer's Labour Party. It's still going on. This is the party that really supports Jewish people. They just unequivocally support Jewish people, unless those people are stand up for Palestinian human rights. Then not so much.
Rose meets Matthews.
Had I known that our private meeting had been covertly recorded with the intention to broadcast our conversation on an international network, I would have never made those comments.
If I had known anyone was listening, I never would have made those comments. So in a way, it doesn't count. Right? If I had known that I was being recorded, of course I wouldn't have said it. Oh, okay. Well, that makes it okay then. That's fine.
Later,
no problem.
Matthews writes to Rose.
At interview, you said that you understood the language you used was ugly, and in retrospect, you wished you had not used those words. You noted that there isn't, nor will there ever be, any public record of you using such language. For the reasons outlined above,
that is a no
the Labour
malarkey
Party
stance.
will be taking no further action on this matter.
Within a few days, I got an email back saying thank you very much. I've looked into this. We've reminded Miss Rose of the conduct expected of members of the Labour Party. Case closed. Goodbye.
And I keep going back to this, but important to point out, look at these dangerous individuals that were being targeted by this campaign. These dangerous, anti-Semitic, terrorist-supporting radicals. Look at this woman. She's fucking terrifying.
You can count
I'm
on me.
scared
You're
right
gonna
now.
have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
TRRS Rob Knife.
Thank you, Earth to Skelly, for the 7 months of Tier 1. I'm literally scared of this woman, just seeing this image right now. Looks like a homicidal maniac. Hellraiser level scary. I think this woman is a Cenobite. Can you just blur her face? It's just awful. Awful. Terrifying. I have goosebumps right now. Just fucking, and my body has activated fight or flight reflex.
The files include Wimborne Idrissi's email asking the General Secretary to bring the decision on Rose before the party's governing body, the NEC.
We are disappointed to have received no response to our email calling for a review of Ian McNichol's judgment on our complaint against Ella Rose. We look forward to hearing what the NEC plans to do to correct the current unsatisfactory situation.
So McNichol's immediate response is to mail Stoliday, Matthews and Old Now saying Happy Friday. Nice. And then Stoliday gets back to him, Matthews and Old Now. Don't think it needs a response. We said clearly matter is closed.
The Labour movement stands for decency and fairness. And looking at the Ella Rose disciplinary case, it's sort of chummy. There's very rapid exchange of emails, the personal meeting, the declaration that the case is closed.
Rose's case will not be discussed by the National Executive Committee because Stoliday, the head of the party's legal unit, ensures it is dealt with secretly. A day after Matthews clears Rose, Stoliday sends an email to fellow official Odno.
Cenobite.
Official on the
Okay.
NEC.
Cenobite.
She is fine. Says important that we deal with it informally.
That sounds like a tasty, like cinnamon-filled pastry to me. I guess I haven't seen the movie. Cenobite. That sounds like a delicious, like frosting cinnamon concoction.
Don't take it to NEC where everyone will get worked up.
Matthew tells members of the NEC that Rose's case has been handled according to standard procedure.
Officers applied, I think I'm going to have a giggle here. Officers applied exactly the same standards as they do for all investigations when deciding the most proportionate recommendation to make. Sorry.
It's laughing.
Never mind.
It looks like
There's an anti-Semitism crisis in the Labour Party, and you're laughing.
As far as I'm concerned, they can go down a hole.
It looks like there's a set of double standards going on here, that Ella Rose is being treated in a different way, more friendly way, after abusive behaviour.
It does kind of seem like that, yeah.
People in Brighton
Seems a little like that. Cinnabon is clearly missing out on an obvious marketing synergy opportunity with the new Hellraiser coming out. It's
Fitzpatrick's
true.
suspension is overturned, and she becomes Labour's parliamentary candidate in Harrow East. The constituency debates whether to affiliate to Jewish Voice for
They
Labour
need to jump
or
on that.
JVL. JVL represents Jewish members who are critical towards the State of Israel. The Jewish Labour Movement, or JLM, supports Israel.
There was a debate, which was a very civilised debate. It was a very balanced thing. They voted overwhelmingly to support Jewish Voice for Labour.
Fitzpatrick suddenly receives a flurry of aggressive tweets.
The next day, there were comments on social media attacking me for Harrow East having affiliated to Jewish Voice for Labour and asking me to condemn Jewish Voice for Labour.
Holocaust revisionism, to criticize Israel.
It just kept getting worse and worse. And then it was, well, your silence means, you support it.
You've aligned yourself with Holocaust
deniers.
Jesus.
And then it turned into, you are a Holocaust denier.
One of the accounts attacking Fitzpatrick belongs to a Labour Party activist, Luke Stanger.
Councillor Fitzpatrick's selection has already caused alarm to some in the Jewish community.
It's stirring things up and creating this perception that somehow I'm anti-Semitic. It's really upsetting for me, really, really upsetting.
And that's a serious question, because obviously there's right-wing Zionist Jews in the UK and elsewhere, but like, how many people that were hurling these kinds of accusations and were behind driving this narrative were actually Jewish? Some were, obviously. Not all, though. Definitely not all. Was that guy Jewish? I don't know. It's an interesting question.
Stanger contacts an employee of Fitzpatrick's on Facebook.
I have been asked by a moderate councillor in Harrow to help build up a social media dossier on her, which can then be leaked out and will hopefully result in the suspension of her candidacy. She seems a nasty sectarian mouthpiece for the hard left.
I did some research and then found that there were other people that he attacked.
I'm one of many women who's been on the receiving end of Luke's.
Look at these women that are being attacked with this.
He started.
Look at these people.
Much kind of constantly and relentlessly writing.
Another terrifying bigot. Another terrifying, basically a neo-Nazi. Look at the people that were being targeted by this. Oh my God.
Tweets about me. He uses words like crazed, deranged, repellent, rancid, grandma, this kind of language. Now, this isn't the language of political discourse, and nobody could argue that it is. But that's the kind of language that Luke Stanger uses.
Come on, you Spurs! Happy day!
Lukey Stranger. Who's this guy, Lukey Stranger? Lukey Stranger. Luke Stranger, of course, has an anti-traveler post. I'm perplexed how some on the left have any sympathy for such matters. The traveler community are frequently a nasty blight on communities who wreak civil unrest unto areas. This is the human rights defender. This is the social justice defender, Luke Stranger, that was engaging in this kind of thing. He seems to have deleted his account, or at least changed the name of it. Not that it matters all that much. I'm curious to know whether this anti-Semitism defender is actually Jewish. I'm not so sure. I would be, maybe he is. I'd be interested to find out the answer to that, though.
Luke Stanger then became...
So the pleasant British grandmas, they're the dangerous bigots, and these are the ones that are these are the social justice defenders, defending the Labour Party establishment from these vile bigots, these fucking crumpet-making grandmas. Good Lord.
Luke Stanger then became associated with a group called Sussex Friends of Israel. And Luke Stanger would appear with some of the characters from Sussex Friends of Israel, where there were pro-Palestinian stalls or
More like Luke
leafleting.
Stanker. It is so cynical and
Luke
demonic.
Stanger
It's
would
fucking
appear,
unbelievable.
And he would walk around filming.
He's one of those people that just seems to be able to act with impunity, that whatever he does is going to be acceptable to party officials. And you can't help being suspicious, really, about, who's backing him, who's supporting him. How does he manage to continue in the way he does?
It's a great question. That is a great
After
question.
multiple complaints are filed, the Labour Party suspends Stanger. The party sends Stanger a questionnaire inviting him to respond to the allegations. Stanger rejects the accusation that he has broken any of the party's rules or codes of conduct. Metadata in the Labour files reveals that Stanger didn't write the letter himself.
Okay.
Nothing like a group of self-styled philosemites spamming the Labour Party with false complaints and misrepresenting the level of anti-Semitism complaints coming in, the vast, vast majority of which were never upheld. And coming from a small number of people too, right? I'm sure that's going to be touched on in this documentary.
Okay, so this shows that the author of what I've been looking at by Luke Stanger is another Luke Akehurst.
Luke Akehurst is an influential figure in the Labour Party and now sits on the party's National Executive Committee. He's also a key figure in the pro-Israel lobby, a director of We Believe in Israel.
Oh my word. So the author of those documents, surprise, surprise, is Luke Akehurst.
Luke Akehurst is known to be the anti-Corbynista of all anti-Corbynistas.
What this makes me feel is I had the sense all along that this was organised. Now, Luke Akehurst is behaving like this. It's quite shocking, really.
We've always had a diverse mix of communities in Liverpool. The proudest thing I would say is that I've made politics accessible to people. I've shown them that, you can represent communities. It was about making sure that we did have the political representation and have a say on how the city was run.
The Labour files reveal how Keir Starmer's enforcers take control of the selection of the party's candidates.
One of those men arrested is the mayor of Liverpool.
On suspicion of conspiracy to commit bribery and witness intimidation.
When Liverpool's mayor is arrested, it sparks a new selection process for the party's candidate in the upcoming election for mayor. Anna Rothery seeks the party's nomination.
I believe real change comes from the ground up, not the top down. And it's on that basis that I ask for your support.
A panel of party representatives interview Rothery. She is selected with 2 other candidates for a vote by Labour members in Liverpool.
I was very surprised in terms of the way people rallied round to support me.
Rothery was backed by one of Britain's largest trade unions.
I was endorsed by United. I was also endorsed by many MPs. I was also endorsed by Jeremy Corbyn.
I'm absolutely delighted to support Anna Rothery as our candidate to be Liverpool's mayor.
It's great to have.
You know what, folks? You know who I should have on this program? You know who I should reach out to have on this very program? A certain individual named Jeremy Corbyn. I wonder. I feel like it's possible. I feel like it's a possibility. I wonder if we could have Jeremy Corbyn come on this very program to talk about some of these issues. Or Luke Stanger. We can do a debate stream. How about that? I'm going to pivot to the whole debate world.
Those endorsements by public figures, but the most meaningful endorsements.
Busy man, but worth a shot. It's true.
As far as I was aware, it was then down to the people of Liverpool to choose who they wanted to be their candidate.
And Lord has that was tongue in cheek, that comment. This is a fervently anti-debate stream, just to be clear about this, just so there's no confusion with any new community members. This stream has a firm, strict, never debate stance. Okay? Just so there's no confusion. Some of you have viewers from all over the UK, places like Yorkshire and other places.
Former leader Jeremy Corbyn is one of the latest victims of the purge against the left of the party. He was suspended from the party's ranks in Parliament.
Will you be restoring the whip? Put us out last night, thank you.
In Britain, it is called having the whip removed.
Thank you very much for coming.
I still don't know what that
Rotherham speaks
means.
out against the party's treatment of Corbyn.
I'd like to see the whip restored to Jeremy and the constituency Labour Party officers who have faced arbitrary suspension to be reinstated.
Rothery's statement lands in the inbox of senior officials at party headquarters.
One of our Liverpool candidates.
How busy can he be if he's out there playing video games glorifying violence
A fellow
against
Labour
women?
councillor
Good
in
question.
Liverpool also emails London headquarters.
Anna continued to call for the restoration of the whip to Jeremy Corbyn.
And yeah, Cardinal, I remember he was on
This action has
HBT,
seen
please.
Constituency
Yeah.
Labour Party members suspended, but we're turning a blind eye to this?
Party officials in Southside discuss dealing with Rothery.
Anything to do or see here?
I don't see anything that's really actionable in this.
Well, they're obviously trying to filter
Dialectics over
information
debate, there we
that's going
go.
to be detrimental.
I always picture a person just lugging around a massive whip, ready to use it upon their
viable
foes.
Candidate.
That would be a lot more
Then
entertaining.
something unexpected happens.
The next thing I got an email saying we're going to have to hold off in terms of the elections. The panel want to invite the three candidates back to another interview. I didn't really understand what was behind it. I just thought it was just maybe they wanted to check some facts.
A letter arrives in the inbox of the new Labour Party General Secretary, David Evans. It comes from Alan Dean, a former Labour councillor in Liverpool.
Dear David, I've been asked to contact you in relation to Councillor Anna Rothery and her unsuitability to stand as Labour's candidate for the position of elected Mayor of Liverpool. I'm firmly of the opinion that she would be a disaster, a disaster for the city and the Labour Party if she were to become the elected Mayor.
It went on.
Her sudden conversion to and support from various senior Corbynista MPs is of huge concern for the direction she would take.
Well, you know, it's all beginning to slot into place. You know, the more I'm reading, I'm thinking this was a concerted effort by very senior people to, you know, to disparage, you know, me as an individual.
Certainly seems like that, yes.
The letter makes comments about Rothery's family.
I don't even want to repeat that. It's just so untrue. It's you know, and you know, it just tells me that he's such a vicious individual to bring people's children into something. This is really dirty business. This, you know.
It certainly is.
Dean's letter also raises an incident involving a fellow Labour councillor a decade earlier.
When the councillor
The Corbynista, yeah.
came to my table, I knew
As a
it was going to be
slur.
nothing but
Fucking
trouble, 'cause
ridiculous.
They would be in trouble. And I got to the point where I just avoided him. And so he gradually worked his way round, and he said, you know, you only got that position because you're black. And I just ignored him.
A version of the row is leaked to
The
a
core
Liverpool
beehive,
newspaper,
that's good too.
alleging that Rothery had prodded Nick Small on the head. A party officer conducts an internal investigation.
I don't know what investigation he did, but I know what the outcome was that Nick Small apologised to me.
Dean's letter contains a condemnation of Rothery.
She has proven herself to be untrustworthy, dishonest person, someone who is solely motivated by her ego, status, and financial gain.
The Labour files do not establish who asked Dean to write the letter to the party general secretary.
And it's obviously designed or orchestrated, you know, to feed into something much bigger out of my control in terms of what they're trying to do.
Rothery goes to her second interview with a selection panel. But this time, it's very different.
I think I knew within the first couple of seconds that there was something not quite right about it, because the demeanour had changed in terms of the panel.
The encounter with Small is raised.
I was literally told by one of the panel members that there'd been an incident in 2011 that would bring the party into disrepute because I'd slapped or punched or hit Nick Small. They felt that Nick Small had made a complaint against me, whereas When I said that I'd made it against him, they kind of like looked a bit deflated, to say the least.
I was walking with my youngest boy to the nearby school. Near the school, I saw Luke Stanger.
Luke Stanger
fucking
remains
guy.
suspended while the party investigates his case.
This fucking
According to his
guy.
notice,
A suspended member shall not represent the party in any position at any level.
social media posts show him campaigning for Labour MPs during the 2019 general election.
He saw me, I saw him. I didn't know him, I knew of him, and I didn't want to talk to him. Then I received a private message from Luke Stanger, which was a shock. It said something along the lines of, good to see you on the morning run with your son. So not unfriendly, but I didn't interpret it as a friendly act.
It's kind of intimidating, isn't it?
McCarthy is then accused of anti-Semitism.
I'm at home with my family, and I start seeing these things appearing on my phone about me being a vile anti-Semite. And completely disgraceful. And these vile, horrendous allegations are being made against me. I am not an anti-Semite. I absolutely detest that allegation. It is completely and utterly untruthful. I'm an anti-racist. I'm proud to be an anti-racist.
Yeah, nice son you got there. Shame if something would happen to him.
My workplace
This
was
shit is
telephoned
unbelievable.
by Luke Stanger. And the reception took a message and they said they wanted to speak because there was a dossier on me. And I thought, what the hell is going on here?
Putting together
I
dossiers,
respond.
putting together
My
lists.
stepdad was the owner of the firm at the time, and he didn't.
Sounds kind of
respond
Stalinist to me, actually.
either. A few days later, we received another phone call from Jonathan Hoffman.
Jonathan Hoffman is a pro-Israel activist and an advisor to the campaigning group Labour Against Anti-Semitism. He's been convicted of aggressive and bullying behaviour.
Jonathan Hoffman said something along the lines of that he had a dossier on me and wanted that to be shown. Then the dossier was sent through to my pals.
Luke Stanger getting an insanely prestigious law firm to represent him. Is he funding that himself, do you think?
Was horrendous. Read.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you
was-
through all this.
Dossier.
Thank you, Weenus. 13 months of Tier 1. Very much appreciated, Weenus. Some of you are on my list, as you know, but when I do it, it's okay. Weenus, you're not on the list, though, okay? Don't worry about that.
Interactions of me with someone online where that person said they wanted to behead my family.
Sickening.
They wanted to behead me and my family. And they said a whole number of things. I don't know if I can repeat them. I can't repeat them about my mother. To make those threats against me and my family, and to say those things about my mother, my stepdad read.
That's fucking... that is unbelievable. These are the people that were wielding the complaint, hurling the complaints about vicious bigots, vile harassment, and this kind of shit in the Labour Party. The very same people. These are demons walking among us. No, it's not. That's not an exaggeration. This is like the most vile shit imaginable. And just, I'll keep repeating though. Remember what you were called if in 2017, for example, you looked at this smear campaign and said, this is a smear campaign. This is a scam. This is bullshit. And you would be called whatever, racist, terrorist sympathizer, anti-Semite, Nazi, whatever. If you dared to suggest that this was not a totally legitimate thing. And all these people in the British left were forced to say, oh, of course it's legitimate. And I support Corbyn, but I also have to understand that there's been mistakes and there's this real problem. And it's like, look what that attitude got them. Look what it got them.
Did that, and he was very upset about reading all of that. I can't talk about most of it. My mum worked for the NHS. She was a good person.
It gets worse, so great.
In Liverpool, Anna Rothery decides to seek legal advice. Her lawyer accuses the interview panel of subjecting her to
an unfair, arbitrary, capricious, and irrational process.
They seek legal redress.
Our client will seek an emergency interim injunction to enable her name to go forward on the ballot to Labour members in Liverpool.
And so we decided that we would ask them to halt the process in terms of the vote, etc., and to give them time to put a case forward as to why I couldn't stand.
Rothery's lawyer reminds the Labour Party that it has a
legal duty to preserve all relevant documents in your control,
including
any documents passing between you and the other panel members.
The panel decides to exclude Rothery and both other candidates from the shortlist.
We were basically told that they were reopening the contest and we need not apply.
The party tells her that the decision was taken after giving
careful consideration to the additional information presented to it.
I still was, doing the duties of a Lord Mayor. I just felt completely deflated and undermined. I felt like it'd been a full-blown character assassination. I still can't make head or tail of it, even all this time after.
Rothery's lawyer seeks an injunction. He asserts the legal right to view evidence.
Please disclose all additional information presented about our client.
The party's lawyers respond to Rothery's request for disclosure of documents.
We decline to provide the disclosure requested. None of the documents you seek from the Labour Party appears to be relevant to the decision to remove your client from the shortlist.
Alan Dean's letter is never presented to Rothery's lawyer or to the court. Nor is a letter sent by Nick Small repeating the allegation that Rothery had prodded him at a dinner in 2011.
My word. A lot of time and effort has gone into this on their behalf.
The Labour Party has an obligation to
this was Starmer putting his stamp on the party and keeping the socialist heartland of Liverpool under control, controlled opposition within the party and without.
Now, there is a problem here. If that's the way the Labour Party is conducting itself in opposition, under, let's remember, Keir Starmer, the former Director of Public Prosecutions, is Sir Keir Starmer.
You can count on me. You're going to have
like
good old
in
Rob
power?
to talk you through all this.
Giddy up.
Thank you, Cutman, for the 15 months of Prime. I appreciate you, Cutman. Thank you.
The injunction is refused, and Rothery ordered to pay $90,000 in costs to the party.
I think I was literally hung out to dry by a party that I've been loyal to.
Ordered to pay £90,000.
At Labour headquarters, the General Secretary congratulates the party's senior lawyer, Alex Burrows-Curtis.
Thoroughly well done. Your contract has been agreed. We will not be including a win bonus.
Massive character assassination. Make it so she can't actually stand for a political position. And by the way, you're out £90,000.
The activist Luke Stanger is seeking to overturn his suspension from the party. He is represented by an expensive City of London law firm.
Who's paying for that?
Mishcon de Reya are hired to challenge Stanger's suspension.
Is that coming out of his personal funds?
That Stanger enjoys amongst senior politicians from the right of the party. He receives character references from 14 MPs, 30 councillors,
14
and dozens
MPs
of
for this
party
guy.
activists. Gareth Thomas, the Labour MP for Harrow West.
I was very sad to hear of Luke Stanger's recent suspension from the Labour Party. I hope his case can be concluded soon and he can continue to be a good friend to Harrow Labour in future years to come.
And I think that people are actually quite dangerous who are in the Labour Party. The way that they're behaving, it's quite astonishing, really.
The Labour Party now welcomes apartheid-supporting racists and abusers of women. And how that could possibly have happened is beyond me.
Stanger is on the campaign team for Peter Kyle, the Labour MP for Hove. Stanger describes himself as his representative. Kyle sends Stanger an email.
I have always found you an amazing, active campaigner on behalf of the Labour Party.
Well, I'm not the same person. That is certainly true. In terms of security, I'm always thinking about locks on doors, windows. Where is my family? I'm always worried about them. And so on me and my family, all of my family, we are frightened as a result of what's happened to us.
Steve Reed, Labour MP for Croydon North and now Opposition Minister for Justice, praises Stanger.
I have met Luke many times while out campaigning for the Labour Party. It would be wrong to exclude him from continuing to play a role in the party he loves so much.
The Labour Party doesn't care. I've reported all of this to the Labour Party. At the end of the day, that evil took place and, you know, it's still a scar.
They seem kind of okay with it.
It's a scar on my sister, my whole family, and it's still there. No one has dealt with it. No one has dealt with this.
The highest disciplinary body in the party votes to expel Stanger, but his expulsion is never carried out. The former head of the Governance and Legal Unit, John Stolliday, voices his support.
Luke is a gentle giant who gives his all to his progressive political beliefs and his deep commitment to equality and, above all, getting Labour elected.
Yes.
My dad read those terrible comments, and he was upset about that. And he died not long after that.
They fucking destroyed this guy's whole life.
Count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Welcome back, Rob. TRRS Guns.
Thank you, Lalate. 5 months of Tier 1. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the welcome back. I'm happy to be here. Thank you. They fucking destroyed this guy's entire life. And these nice grandmas. How fucking ruthless are these people?
Evil that was put into our lives caused my pa to die. I'm sure that was a central part of what happened. And the lack of safety for me and my family, the awful words that were used about my mother, I think I'm still in a state of shock. I don't think I'll ever get over it.
It's a completely despicable place to find ourselves after people have made so many sacrifices over so many decades fighting for a party that represents the working classes, to end up at this point where we're being betrayed by our own party.
Least greasy Blairite.
It's a big no-no in my eyes.
The Labour Party is a criminal conspiracy against its members. It acts unlawfully. It libels its members.
You can count on me.
It gives
You're gonna
no
have good old
natural
Rob
justice
talk
to
you through
those
all this.
accused of offences, and it tears up the rule book, the Constitution, on a whim.
Dimitri, thanks for another gifted sub to Siparusk. Thank you, Dimitri. The anti-tanky hysterics you see online, same tactics. Absolutely. Yeah. The party was a rules-based organization, much like the rules-based international order. Interesting language there. Similarly to the rules-based international order, it certainly seems like the people in the establishment of the party get to decide what the rules are, who has to follow the rules, who doesn't have to follow the rules, who's allowed to break the rules, who's not allowed to break them. Very similar crossover with that kind of language. Yeah, similarly to the Twitch TOS, it's true.
In the second episode of the Labour Files, the true story behind the party's anti-Semitism crisis.
I feel so ashamed right now that it's come to this.
I'm sick of people like you speaking for me!
How truth was subverted.
Oh, Jeremy's a racist!
And reality turned on its head.
That's an absolute lie. I didn't say that.
The media was not interested in the reality of the story.
Shut your mouth!
God, okay, well, that was significantly more evil than I even imagined. I think this is something, I think we're going to have to keep returning to this series because this is like really well done journalism to talk about this. Obviously, no one in the UK is talking about it. They're just going to ignore this, obviously. I'll post the link in the chat. I know there's already been part 2 posted. I don't think we can watch this like every day because it's going to take up a lot of time, but this is where we will watch this entire series on this program though, because I think it's really, really important that we all internalize the lessons from this, you know? So we can watch part 2 maybe next week. Throughout the month, I think we can watch the rest of this piece. I'm from the UK. I just got in, so I don't know what this video is about. It's just a reported out, very thorough documentation of the smear campaign against Corbyn and who was taking part in it and who was complicit in it and who was attacked by it and how fucking evil and undemocratic it was. The British public just literally couldn't give less of a shit. No, I'm sure. I mean, they take their cues from the media. And Al Jazeera is going to talk about this, but is no one in the Sun is going to talk about it. Certainly no one in The Guardian. The Guardian was a central component in this whole thing. They're not going to talk about it. They all just want it to go away. And it will. It will go away. They don't care. This is interesting to me as a new UK resident as of 2 weeks ago. Again, if you're going to live there, I think it's important to understand like what this political establishment is about. BBC is not going to talk about it. The BBC was a big part of it as well. They contributed enthusiastically to this smear campaign. Okay, so that was significantly more evil than I was imagining and longer than I was imagining. I didn't really get a chance to talk about Iran that much or Cuba. We will be talking about that though this week, okay? I'll be back tomorrow for probably a shorter stream. Probably 2 hours or so. But this week we'll be talking about Cuba, this new sort of the new progressive family laws that are being put in place in Cuba. We're going to talk about Cuban democracy. We're going to talk about Iran, these protests. Is it a color revolution? Is it not a color revolution? We will be getting into all of this week, folks, okay? So don't despair. Don't despair, okay? We're going to talk about all this shit this week. Thank you again for joining. This is the first like long stream I've done in weeks, just over 3 hours. I really, really appreciated being able to come and hang out with you folks again. So yeah, we didn't get to nearly all the things that I wanted to talk about. Maybe it was a little ambitious. I probably had 9 hours worth of content planned for this 3-hour stream. But tomorrow and the rest of this week, we will be talking about all of this stuff. Okay? Is that a deal? Okay, good. Very good. I wonder if I should try rating Hassan. I wonder if Hassan would even notice. Do you think I would even get a mention from Hassan if I rated right now? I've tried it before and it just didn't, it registered, it made no effect whatsoever. No one even noticed. No one even fucking noticed. The chat stream just instantly moves on, of course. Of course it does. Of course it does. Happy to have the new folks in the chat today. Lolo Welp and some of our other new friends, Byron, a number of new community members today, which I love to see. I'm really going to work hard this year on expanding the stream and getting it bigger and making it bigger and better than ever. So really happy to have some new folks with us today. Make sure you smash the follow button. I am going to raid our friends in Left Flank Vets. Not sure what they're going on about today. But again, I'll be back tomorrow, noon Eastern. We will talk about Cuba. We'll talk about Iran. We'll talk about Italy. All of this stuff. We will be talking about all of this, these geopolitical flashpoints this week. So once again, it was an absolute pleasure today to hang out with you all. Absolute pleasure. Join the Discord as well, if you haven't already, okay? It's the final call to action. Join that Discord server. Very important that you do this. This is where the community kind of lives when the stream is not live. Really, really great Discord community. We got Theory Club going on tonight. All kinds of good shit going on in that Discord server. Thank you, Humdrum Singaporean. I appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in today. Yeah, really enjoyed this one. I'll be back tomorrow. Pleasure as always. And I will talk to you folks soon, okay? Now I'm just going to stare at the camera until we have to go.